Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I pray that we always do. Um, Waiting on everybody to come in with us, but let me put the phone number up here because the phone lines will be open, and they are open actually already. So all you have to do if you want to be a part of the conversation is give us a call 508-924-3521 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We love to have your input on what we're going to talk about today. We got a topic that might be a little testy. I need to shave too, huh? I need to shave. But anyway, we got a topic that may be a little testy today. And so we're gonna jump right into this thing before we talk about a few other things. And as I said, I'm waiting on a few of my co-hosts, however you want to say it, to come on board with this. But in the meantime, you could definitely give us a call 508-924-3521 508-924-3521. Always excited to have each and every one of you to join us and be a part of the conversation that we're having. We're going to open up this thing, but I want to I'm gonna do something a little different this morning. I'm gonna start off play a song. I'm gonna play a song. What I want to hear. Rashid has said he had a friend, a brother of mine, Rashid, said his music is released. So I'm gonna start playing some of his music on the platform in the morning, so people could actually have an opportunity to listen to that brother. He got some great music. As a matter of fact, he do a show with us every Thursday. He do a show with us every Thursday from 8:10 until 10:10. And so he's been here with us for almost going on, I guess, going on a year now. Going on a year now. Very powerful show. Very powerful show. And so if you get an opportunity, definitely tune in. We have Minister Neil. He actually does a show with us as well. Minister Neil been with us for 4 years. He does a show every Thursday as well, from 6:30 until 8 o'clock. And so he's with us. The Morning Glow. We got Real Men Being Men every Tuesday. So tonight, if you're not busy, join us for Real Men Being Men. That goes from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's our flagship show, man. That's outside of the Raheem Najee show, which is my namesake show. Real Men Being Men is we've been doing that show for 12, 13 years. The whole time that we've actually been live on radio, Real Men Being Men has been a part of what we've been doing. I'm real excited about that particular broadcast and everything that broadcast brings to the table, man. A lot of people, we've had a lot of great men on Real Men Being Men. We got a pretty much a regular staff of men that come together on Real Men Being Men now. But we have guests to come in from time to time, and they come and they love it, man. And they come back, and people always say, "How do you get grown men to dedicate?" I don't. My father, man, my father does it. My father bring the people. Sometimes he weeds some of them out. Sometimes he keep them. Sometimes they stay for a very long time. Sometimes they don't. It's just what it is, man. We talked yesterday, and if you joined us, I hope you did. If not, go back and look at it. We talked yesterday about knowing your own identity. Do you know? Do you know your who? Do you know your true self? And it's amazing how a lot of people, though they say they do, they don't really acknowledge or know who they are. That is my favorite show. Somebody said that is my favorite show. I'm trying to figure out who that is that said that. And I'm thinking that Tiffany Real. Now I sent you that link. Where you at? Tiffany Real sitting here looking at it from the background. Girl, you supposed to be on here. I sent you the link. I emailed it to you, and you talking about that shit. Can't nobody hear you when you're talking like that. I'll put your little comment up on the screen here, but you supposed to be here. Where you at? We're gonna dock your pay today. We're gonna dock your pay. We're gonna take a couple of zeros off your paycheck today, because you're supposed to be here. Where you at? Anyway, man, but seriously, Real Men Being Men is a lot of people's favorite show, man. Because we get it from a lot, much like the Morning Glow, we get a lot of perspectives. But when you're talking to grown men and getting it from the man's standpoint, a lot of ladies ask Tiffany Real, she's a testimony of that. Because she said, "I'm coming." A lot of women really love that because they give them an opportunity to go inside the man's mind and to see what he think about any given situation. And so, it's good, man. It's good. She said, "I am coming, Lord Jesus." And this is the same one that's always talking about Raheem. You're late. It must be a man thing. Now, you got some women, they blame the man for everything. It must be some man thing. Y'all always like, well, hold on now. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm broadcasting. got people joining in, tuning in, and where you at, lady? Is it a lady thing that you're late? Is it a lady thing that you're not on time? But we did. I had an opportunity yesterday. And let me tell y'all this before I get into the broadcast and forget. I had an opportunity to go on Tiffany Real show yesterday, man. Powerful, powerful show. She has a real powerful show, man. I'm really impressed with what she's doing. And so if you get an opportunity, you need to join her show. And when she come in, I'll let her tell you exactly the day and the time that it's on. I think she goes 7 days now. And so I was, she allowed me. She blessed me to be a guest on her show yesterday, and I really enjoyed myself. I really had a good time. So Tiffany, thank you, Tiffany Real, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your wonderful show. Like I said, this is great. She go deep with a lot of things, man. I don't know if I was ready. I don't know if I was ready. I don't know if I was ready. But yeah, but we talked about, we covered a lot. We covered a lot yesterday, man. And again, if anybody that's listening to the Morning Glow or any one of my broadcasts, if you get an opportunity, I definitely I highly recommend you going and check out Tiffany Real show. She has a real good show, man. She's doing some amazing things over there. She's doing some amazing things. So Tiffany Real, keep doing what you're doing, sis. Keep doing what you're doing. Proud of you, and keep waking them up. I see it all the time on this show here. Sometime in order to and people say, well, y'all Christian broadcast, man. How you gonna talk about the things you talk about? Well, I say it like this, and I say it all the time. Sometime in order to wake them up, you got to shake them up, and we do a pretty good job of shaking them up. Sometimes we do a pretty good job, and so my thing is, go on her show, continue to watch us. I'm multitasking, so y'all bear with me for a second here. I'm sitting out a couple of things. Okay, there we go. All right, good. Now, what my folks said, man. Everybody must be still asleep this morning, man. That pill, shake them up. That's right. In order to wake them up, you gotta shake them up. You gotta shake them up. And I'm not talking about no Thunderbird and grapefruit juice. Y'all remember that Thunderbird and grapefruit juice? Y'all ain't been saved all y'all life. Y'all talk that talk like y'all been saved all your life. Y'all got to pass too now. Some of y'all used to drink real heavy. Drink and smoke. Sex up everything. You sexing up. Y'all need to stop that, man. Y'all get saved, and all of a sudden now y'all ain't never done nothing. Y'all ain't never done this. I've been saved all my life. Donald Tucson, you see him a solo, man. Where you at, Donald? Talking about shake him up. See, Donald Tucson is talking about that on Thunderbird and grapefruit juice. That's what he's talking about. Captain Leonard, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem and Morning Glow family.
Man, I'm talking about these folks around here, man, that's been saved all their life, man, and ain't never done nothing. They ain't never drink, ain't never smoke, and they ain't never sex something up, and they ain't never done none of it. They've been sex all
if
their
they
life.
have, they have.
Leonard, somebody tell me a lying is a sin too.
Well, I'm just saying there are some people that live certain types of lives that don't, you know, it just means so much. What are you talking about? Are you just trying to be sarcastic?
Very.
Oh,
Because I'm gonna tell you something, man. These folks walk around here like they ain't never done nothing, man. Leonard, I know better, man. We all know better. As a matter of fact, truth of the matter, some of these things that they do, we used to do them together.
Right.
Yeah, I remember you used to be down there at that club chasing that girl, talking about, man, you be my wing, man. I'm gonna get that. You be the wing, man. Go set it up, man. Come on, man. And drunk, and you had to stumble to get over there to the girl when you want to talk to her because you're so drunk, high, or whatever you are. But all of a sudden, they get saved. They forget about all that, and people have amnesia sometimes when they become saved, Leonard. And I know you. Go ahead, brother. I know you were saying we got Cassandra on the phone line too. Good morning, Cassandra. We're going to come to you in a second. But Leonard, talk to me about these super saved saints that ain't never done nothing.
Well, it just depends. I know you being sarcastic, but having done something before and not doing it anymore, that is a big deal.
It is. It
That
is.
is a big deal. You don't do it no more. But
But
I don't take that from nobody. Everybody haven't lived the same type of life.
mm-hmm.
Now, and also not doing something may not be a big deal to a certain person. I
Mm-hmm.
don't go out as much anymore,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it has very much to do with me thinking that I'm better or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like going out much very much anymore.
Well, then you ain't no spring chicken no more, man. You're a fall hen now. So,
You know,
but
but
okay,
I remember used to liking to go out a lot, but I just don't
yes,
go out
sir.
anymore. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things I don't do anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and that isn't accomplished. People who were strung out on drugs, who are not strung out on drugs anymore, celebrate
Mm-hmm.
sobriety. You
Yeah.
know, you don't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if you not. You know, some people can be a certain way that's annoying, but
Mm-hmm. Very.
accomplishments
Mm-hmm.
should be celebrated,
Mm-hmm.
I think. But I
And
think you're trying to say that this got something to do with some people pretending as
yes,
if they've never
there
done
you go.
anything before, who have.
Cha-ching. What that cash register that? Cha-ching. You got it. Yeah, absolutely. Because and my thing is right here, and I'm going to go to Cassandra as well. And the phone lines are open. Y'all give us a call. Tell us what y'all think about this. The number is 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Leonard, my thing is this right here, and I really appreciate what you said, and you're absolutely right in what you said. But I'm talking about the ones, Leonard, that act like they've never done anything, and to the point where they will look down on the people that's doing the very thing that they used to do. Then you can you that's not, to me, that's not healthy. You used to do the same thing, but now that you've changed your life, and I applaud you, and I appreciate the fact that people do change their lives, and they see the light and they walk in the light. I appreciate that, but at the same time, that don't mean you have to be blinded by what you used to do or just forget that you had a past too.
But
Maybe,
that also don't give another person the right to use your past against you either.
absolutely, absolutely. But watch this, watch this. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, I know how you feel about this, but I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna let you say what you have to say about this. These super saved saints that has never done anything, they never had a past, and the very thing they looking down their nose at some people are drinking, smoking, fornicating, or whatever it is. They looking down the nose at them. They should do the very same thing. Why is it they sometimes seem this amnesia? What is this amnesia?
No, it ain't seen. No, it ain't seen. They do have amnesia
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, there are a lot of people that are super saints, and that is what turns me off the most about some Christians.
Mm-hmm.
They completely forget the stuff they did. They completely judge people and oh, how you do that? You the goo, you going to hell. Da, da, da. Negro, it wasn't that long ago. Don't forget where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
And just the same way you had to process to get where you are, there are other people that are still trying to get there. So
Mm-hmm.
when you got these super saints, and it turns people off from God.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
you get saved and all of a sudden you judging everything that somebody else is doing, and you was one of the biggest sinners out there. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad, and I'm like Leonard, I'm happy that people change. I want people to change. But don't ever start feeling like you are better than somebody, or you start judging other people
Mm-hmm.
for doing the same thing that God delivered you out of. You
Mm-hmm.
were just delivered out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Other people haven't gotten there yet. And this. I'm gonna stop on this. The Bible says, "With loving kindness have I drawn you." When you're judging people, oh, her skirt, why is she in there with that skirt? Why is she even come to this church? She got her skirt up. Well, you know what? People learn.
Mm-hmm.
People learn, and as you grow in God, you learn. Okay, I need to drop my skirt. You know, my hem. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's stuff we need to learn. It's just, well, that's it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And see, and you're absolutely right, Cassandra. A lot of times that people start looking at that, and they start judging other people on that. And you judging me. I'm coming to the church. Yeah, I'm coming to, I got on holy jeans. I got, my shirt is not clean like it's supposed to be, but that's all I got. Somewhere it says come as you are. And these people are coming as they are at that particular time. So instead of trying to judge them, why don't y'all come together? Why don't some of these saints, if you will, come together and pool their money together and buy the person something? Evidently, they're not coming there because they're not coming there that way because they want to. They're coming that way because they have to. And so, if you have the love, and like you said, one of my favorite verses, with the love and kindness have I drawn thee. If we come together in love and kindness, okay, we see Mr. John over there, man, he shouldn't come to church, dressed like that, man. But maybe Mr. John don't have, maybe that's all he got. So look here, brother. I got $30, man. How much you got? You got some, let's help Mr. John out and get a few people together and $5, $2 or $3, whatever. Let's go down there and buy some clothes for Mr. John. Take it to his house and drop it off to him. Mr. John, we appreciate the fact that you came to church. God bless you, brother. And we wanted to do something real nice for you. Hope we're not offending you. Because you have to say that because some people get offended. Hope we're not offending you in what we're doing, but we did it out of absolute love. Here you go. That can make a huge difference in somebody's life, just that you took the time to recognize and to acknowledge and to do something about them in that situation. Tiffany, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I heard you saying those nice things, but I also heard you talking smack. So
I did. I talk about smack you now. Talk about a man always late and you late and you the late.
That's right, because I was at the studio until 10 o'clock last night, so I didn't get home until 12. So
okay, what do you got to do today?
You know what? I'm not like you. I have to rest. I don't be doing fake 350 push-ups and sit-ups and stuff like that. I just need rest.
Okay, what do you got to do today?
I'm here.
Okay. What do you think about the situation I was talking about, like with Mr. John? He come to church, or the young lady, like Cassandra was saying, she come to church and maybe she don't have the proper protocols and stuff like that. She has to learn. She go to church like she went to the club and the skirt be a little bit high, and she don't know, but she's coming. Why is it sometimes people, some people, not all people, because a lot of people in church are very loving people as well. So I don't want to paint a picture like there's no loving people in church, because there really is. But what about the ones that would judge her?
I heard Cassandra before I switched over to the link, and it reminded me of two incidences, which makes me not go to church, because one of these incidents happened when I was 14 years old. Mm-hmm. I went to church by myself because I wanted God to save me. I had just tried to commit suicide like a week and a half before. I said, God don't want me. I said, let me try to go to church. Mm-hmm. So I go to church by myself. Church is packed. And this woman stood up and she was talking about how she was on drugs, how she was a prostitute and everything. And she wanted to turn her Lord over to Jesus and all this other stuff. And everybody in the church, especially the women, hallelujah, amen, praise the Lord, blah, 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 clapping, all that stuff. As soon as church was over, some of the people weren't even off the steps. They were talking about that lady like a dog. And when I heard that hurt me so bad, because the lady was crying. She was putting herself out there. She was telling things that at that time I thought was too much information. But she was there pouring out her soul, and they dogged her. And then one more incident real quick. You guys know I had 7 kids, 3 grandkids, and an ex-husband. Well, when I was pregnant with my last child, my mother-in-law, she kept the kids in church, and they were there for practicing. So I was close to delivery, so I was at the church. Everybody was outside. I was inside. I'm having contractions. I'm sitting there rubbing my belly. After a flock, I wasn't crying or making any noise. I'm just breathing through my contractions, rubbing my belly. And these 2 ladies come and she need to be in a hospital somewhere. Before I could say what, I cussed them biddies out in church, because I was like, if out of any place that I should be in the house of the Lord. And here I am with you 2 biddy. You know what I'm saying? It just it just reconfirmed why I didn't like church in the first place. And this is a totally different church. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, so you're right. Even with my kids, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Even with my children, my ex-husband and I, he would get so mad. They don't clean their room. They don't blah, 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 blah. And he would yell and scream. I was like, boy, you was the first episode of Hoarders, my dude. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Why are you getting mad at these kids? They get good grades, smart. They play instruments. They do all these great things. And you're yelling at them like the world's going to end when you used to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And the thing as a parent is you have to be able to relate to these kids. Let them know I used to be there too, and this is important why you do this is important why you do that. But yeah, people judge too much. Like, being saved doesn't mean that you don't have memory. It doesn't mean that you're gonna go back, but it doesn't mean your past helps other people. so they can possibly have a better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, I want to put this out there because I don't want people to think that we're on here and we're bashing or beating up the church, because I know, and I'm sure that just like we have stories of negative things happening, there's a lot of great positive things that happen in church as well. I've seen people do things, man. I've seen a pastor, my pastor in Augusta. I hope you don't mind me calling his name, but Pastor Gregory Maurice Fuller. He's bishop now in Augusta, Georgia. He knew that a young lady that was in the church. She was a single mom, working and going to school, and she called him one day, and his car, her car died. Her car just died, and she didn't have no way to get back and forth with the family or to church or to school or whatever she had to do. If the kids got sick or whatever, didn't have any way of getting them around because the car just died. And Bishop, well, pastor at that time, he had just bought a car. He said the car of his dreams, the older car. He liked to make them pick them the old cars. And when he was going through the process of buying that particular car, he said the spirit kept telling him that's not your car. And he went through the whole process, signed the papers, and driving home. And he said the spirit kept telling him that's not your car. He didn't realize what happened until he got to church that Sunday. And I was sitting right there. I was like, wow. He said, you young lady right there. He stopped the service. He said, you right there. Come here. Come here. He called up to the front, and she didn't know what was going on. Church was going on. The church was at a high. And she got up and she walked up there. He left her kids, actually a young lady beside her, watch her kid. I think it was a cousin or something like that. She went up to the front, and he told the story about how he got the car. He always wanted the car. He passed the car. He told the whole story. He said, but the spirit kept telling me that this is not my car. I think I told this story here before. He said, the spirit kept telling me that this is not my car. He said, now I get it. He said, here. He said, here. He had one of the deacons actually go back there, get the keys, got the keys, took it out, and gave it to her. He said, here. And he gave her the car. You don't owe me anything. He said, only thing I want you to do. He said, only thing I want you to do is when you get on your feet, when you graduate, get on your feet, get a good job. He said, I want you to give this car to somebody that was in the same situation that you was in. Take care of the car and pass it on to somebody else that could use it. And I sit there and I watch it, and I'm not ashamed to tell y'all, man, if it touched me so much, man, tears was coming to my eyes just to see. So I don't want people to think that, there's ugly and terrible things that go on in the church. There's some beautiful things that go on in the church, man. The same pastor, man, there was another family that was going through some hard times. He at the end of the service, well, right before service stopped, he said, listen, I got to understand, because somebody bought him a note, and he looked at the note and he realized what it was. He said, listen, I know we've done the tithe and offering and all this stuff. He said, but there's somebody amongst us right now that is in need. He said, the family's in a bad situation. He reached in his pocket. He said, listen, here, I'm gonna start this thing off with $100. And he said, if anybody in there got anything, if you have anything, I'm not gonna try to force you to do anything you don't want to do. But if you have anything and you could help this family that's in need, he said, please help them. He said, only thing I want you to do, and I remember he said this exact words, think if it was you, would you want somebody to help you? He said, I want you to just think about, if it was you, would you want somebody to help you if you was in this situation? He said, I'm gonna leave it right there. He took the $100, he put it in the thing, and everybody came. He all the money that was, and a lot of people came. They just came up there. They were just giving money. I gave money. Everybody was giving money, and he called. He said, look, gave it back. He said, here, this is your money. I hope this helps. And so, I'm getting chills. Let me go to somebody. I'm getting chills just even talking about that. Toya with a T. Good morning. How you doing this morning? Toya with a T. Come back to it. Leonard, talk to me, brother. Why Toya? I think she's fighting that our mute button over there. What's on your heart, brother? And like I said, my thing was I wanted to tell those stories. So these are just a few that I've experienced, because people have some terrible things, some terrible stories about the church, but there's some great stories as well, man. There's some great things that has happened in the church, and so I don't want to go down a road of having anybody think that just bad things happen in the church, because good things happen too.
It's just terrible people that you all meet. I've been in church all my life. I don't want to associate with the people. A lot of the people that you mentioned, those types of people, go to a very diverse church. So, there's all types of people in church. It's not something that you would even think twice about, because there are so many different types of people in church. So I think y'all be talking about these little bitty churches.
Anybody talking about no little bitty church? Why we got to go to little bitty churches? Hold on. How you gonna put us in these little bitty little churches?
My concept of church is completely different than you all. We go to church for a purpose and a reason. You go to the church to definitely worship together, but to hear the word, but we depart to serve. That's a
Yeah.
missionary church, Baptist church,
Mm-hmm.
because my family was so into to church and doing these types of things. We believe in doing good works.
Yeah.
So we don't behave that way, and we look down on people who behave that way.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
so that's not something that's popular in a lot of the circles that I'm in, because that's not the reason why we're Christians at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we
Mm-hmm.
go to Christian, we go to church and learn how to be better people, not the horrible people.
Mm-hmm.
And that type of behavior wouldn't be acceptable at the church that I went to.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
they people didn't used to act like that. But I do understand that there may be some people out there that go to church for other reasons. You
Yeah.
know, those people who go to church just to see what somebody else got on. Those people that
Mm-hmm.
come there for that reason,
Mm-hmm.
the wrong reason.
Mm-hmm.
There are
Exactly.
devils amongst us always,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not always the Christian type of people. There are all types of people at church.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Mm-hmm.
that before you go. You know, so
Old, old
you know,
pastor used to say back in the day, Leonard. Old pastor used to say back in the day, man. And listen, I was a little boy when I heard him say this. Didn't understand what he meant, but as you grow and you live, you learn. He said a lot of time the devil is the first one in the church every morning.
right.
The
So
devil,
you
the
know,
devil's there first.
we gonna make sure we take care of that first and let that spirit know it's not welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
however, the church, a lot of people go to churches for other reasons. Sometimes it's just real cliquish. Sometimes it has nothing to do with teaching and learning, but it's the leadership's fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
The leadership should be letting people know how to behave
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. You know, like say, for instance, even if you are a prostitute, just walk in because you just got out of work, then women
Mm-hmm.
gonna take you and make sure that you're appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Mm-hmm.
those women will do. They'll make sure you have whatever you need.
Yep. They'll
You
take
know,
their little
that's just the type of people at a decent church. That's what it should look like.
cause
I don't
Cassandra.
know about. I mean, what's to judge?
Mm-hmm.
What's to judge?
Mm-hmm.
People gonna feel bad. There are some people that sit up and make something up that ain't even true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they looking at me. So what? And people can look. I know. You know. You used to say when you get stop looking at me. You can't tell me what to do. You know, I can look at what
Mm-hmm.
I want to look at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or if people needed clothes. I remember when young kids or something would join the church, and you know how you had like the little uniform. Something was black and white. If you didn't have it, we got it for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, those types of things. I remember that. White shirts, black pants.
Yeah.
We would buy those for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's what they needed. So I'm from those types of churches that really were about helping people. It wasn't no freak shows and all that type of stuff going on. Anybody could have walked in that church. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I've seen people just lots of issues. But
Mm-hmm.
that's why they came to the church.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Lay your burdens down.
so I would hope, well, even if y'all did go to churches like this, y'all not sitting up with these people joining in.
No. No.
Oh, okay. I just
No.
wanted to make sure
No.
these wasn't people that y'all were friendly with
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
sought to tear down other people looking for Christ.
Exactly. Exactly. Cassandra, I know you've seen some good and some bad things, Cassandra. Talk to me.
No. I agree with Leonard. I mean, I love the body of Christ. And
Mm-hmm.
when I say the body of Christ, those that are not just, you know, I believe in love. I love the body of Christ,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe that there are great churches, but there also are a bunch of churches that are sorry, especially nowadays. They don't do anything to help the people in their communities. They don't do anything to nothing. I mean, they're not doing anything but coming, sitting on Sunday, being there for a couple of hours and going home. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no serving, no serving. And Jesus said, "I came to serve, not
Mm-hmm.
to be served." So we just got to get it right. And that's why I don't frequent sitting in churches now. I used to be in church every Sunday, every Wednesday, every time the door opened. Now it's measured, and not because of COVID. It's
Mm-hmm.
just measured.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Toya with a T, you back with us? Toya with a T, you there?
I am here. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. We're talking about these Christians with amnesia that forget they had a past. And not only do they forget they have a past, but they sometimes look down on other people that's doing the very thing that they used to do, be it drinking, smoking, sexing, or whatever it is. What do you say to that?
Oh, yeah, the perfect people.
Yes,
Yeah.
come on.
That's who we talk and don't do nothing. They grow up, they ate all their vegetables, they never cussed, never touched, never did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else going to hell except for them. Yeah, they all know it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's human nature. We do that all the time. That's just as humans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have to be honest, right? Because I consider myself to go up under the Christian umbrella, but I'm a child of God. So I don't like to separate it. We do this as humans. We're not going to say that's something that Christians do. I'm quite sure most people do it too. I don't practice their faith, but I know humans.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what humans do. Humans have a bad habit of acting like the other person doesn't do anything except for them. We're all perfect. We don't want to admit our sin. We don't want to admit the fact that your nasty, never loving attitude is a sin.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to talk about the fact that you worrying about everything, like trusting God is a sin. It's a lot of sin. But when you sit back and see somebody, no. Us humans are so finicky. We're so special. You can be doing the same thing, and you'll still have to go on us to look at somebody else and say what they're doing, and then the person be like, "What? Wait a minute. You talking about I don't need to be drinking, smoking. Mama head, you drinking, smoking too.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a human issue that we have when it comes to tooting your nose up in the air like you're the only one that's perfect and everybody else are falling short of the glory. That's what we do as humans. We don't even have to know religion to pick at somebody for doing something. And then as soon as we get around the corner, we're doing the same thing. You know what I mean? So that's that. Remember when you point the finger, three are pointing back at you. You know, so these distractions again. I don't even say nothing to nobody no more. I get it now, Lord. I just go immediately into prayer. Lord, bless their heart. Help them, honey. Lord, they're supposed to be serving you now. Go ahead and help their heart. Because this is a human issue, not a Christian issue. This is what we do as humans. And all of us as humans, we need to start, kind of checking each other. Yeah. And if you know someone that does that, you know what you need to do? Check them too. Because I guarantee you, perfect people, once you start calling out their imperfections, they get real quiet later on down the line, especially around the people that call them out.
Tucson, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, if I had to tell you, boy, I take most of the show. But I ain't gonna do that.
Man, listen, we talking about these perfect people, and to Toya's point, man, calling people out. That's pretty much what Jesus done when they brought the lady of adultery. He kneeled down and he wasn't even looking or paying attention to him. He didn't judge her because there's so many different layers that he didn't judge her because now you bought her, but you didn't bring the guy that she was committing adultery with. But he sit down and I think when he was writing in the sand, maybe he was writing down their names and the sin that they have committed. And every time he calls somebody, every time he wrote somebody's name, okay, Billy, you do this, you do this, you do this. Okay, you do this, you do this. Okay, you do this and you do this. And by the time he got finished writing, when he wrote a person's name and then writing the sin down, they left until there's nobody left standing there. And when he got finished, writing everybody's stuff down, because he knew when he got finished writing it down, and he looked up, the lady was the only one that was standing there. Talked to her and he told her, he said, go and sin no more. But but Christian folks, and like Toya said, to Toya's point, and I love the fact that she brought this, it's not a Christian thing, it's a people thing. We judge each other all the time. Man. And we're not just in the way that we judge people from time to time, because sometimes we judging them too start on the very thing that we used to do.
But still doing one or two.
Exactly. Come on.
And I throw this out when you was talking. I was thinking about the reason why. Uh, it's just me now. It's possibly the point that he was making. This is me. Is that all of y'all act like a bunch of whores
Mm. Mm.
or adulterers?
Mm-hmm.
Because let's take this for instance. The church is supposed to be the bride of Christ, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Why are we sleeping with so many other folks
Mm.
other than him? And then we're developing ourselves not to be like him, but we're a bunch of scribes, Pharisees, and Sadducees,
Mm-hmm.
whores,
Mm-hmm.
adulterers.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he call them that?
Yeah.
Hypocrites.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
That's what made him mad.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had the art of allowing folks to look in the mirror and not like what they saw.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And either they would walk away or repent.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what we would like to do? We would do more often. We walk away
Mm-hmm.
rather than repent.
Mm-hmm.
See how the church is so jacked up?
Yeah. Yeah.
We will not. I'm talking about we're a bunch of whores from the pulpit to the back door. I'm telling you, I'm just saying. This is just me. I'm not criticizing anybody,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't self-examine. We examine other folks, but we won't examine ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And every time, look at it. If you look at it, what we are scribes and Pharisees and Sadducees. We're law keepers. We write
Mm-hmm.
down other folks' faults, and we won't do nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. But run our mouth. We good at it.
Oh
We
yeah.
perfected it
Mm-hmm.
to the point where we don't even know what the church is supposed to be. Not even. Not. Let's not even talk about Christianity and church. I'm talking about righteousness and just
Mm-hmm.
and good and kind and loving towards each other. You don't have to, I'm just saying, you don't have to be what is the critical word Christian, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not a prideful thing. It was pointed out to be a kind of sarcastic comment. I'm just saying,
Mm-hmm.
but just to the point where we would just do right to each other, help each other. We have no intention of doing that.
Mm-mm.
So when it comes to being what we're supposed to be, we don't know what to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Whores.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Now, Toy, Tiffany, let me go to Tiffany. Let me ask you this question right here. What if every time we judge somebody, something would have come across our forehead? And I'm being funny when I say this, but just what if every time we judge somebody, the very thing that we did is like actually posted across our forehead? Would we be so judgmental toward other people if our sins gonna show up on our foreheads?
We black and we hard headed, so yep. Because they would try to rearrange, rephrase everything to make it sound like it wasn't judgmental. But man, we'd be like the Staples. You think you was at a Laker game. We just be fucking around looking crazy. Because the thing about us, some of us as a people, it's like once we get in our wrong, we justify the wrong. So now that wrong becomes right. You know, I'm 48 years old, and when I was a little kid, I was taught that certain things were right, certain things were wrong. But today in 2022, everything that I was taught was wrong is now right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by the masses, but you know, I stay true to my core. Do I still mess up? Yes, but the thing is, like somebody was saying, being in clubs and stuff like that. A lot of people judge me because I don't claim to be Christian. But you've been married 5 times. I've only been married once. You go to the club every weekend and turn up and stuff like that. I work and go home. You go around and you got all these boyfriends and girlfriends sleeping around and stuff like that. I'm celibate, but I'm the big bad sinner because I don't claim to be Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's amazing. And then as far as, what keeps me grounded is I like to stay close to people on the front line. I had a friend of mine, she's a photographer, and she said, I need some shots to do a photo shoot for me. And I was like, yeah, if we can go downtown and let me take pictures with the homeless. And she said, what? I said, yeah. So we did our part and we went downtown by Georgia State University. And I was talking to one of the guys and he said, you do know that most people over here are homeless, right? I said, of course. And I went to a group and I had on these really cute shades and I was taking pictures. This one guy, he smelled like urine. I sat on the ground next to him, put my arms around him. We was sitting having a good time. Then this lady came around and she was Miss T. She was homeless and stuff like that. And she was a little weary and stuff. And I said, come on over here and take a picture with me. And she's like, I took my sunglasses off. I said, girl, put on my sunglasses and take a picture with me. And she just smiled the biggest smile. And we sat there and we talked and, and one of the guys said, you're talking to us like, we're not homeless. I said, you know what? All of us have been homeless at one point in time. Any one of us can be homeless. You know what I'm saying? But you're my brother and my sister. Man, we were taking shots, was bent posing and stuff. We had a good old time today. And, if I can be an encouragement and I didn't go looking down, you're my brother, you're my sister. You know what I'm saying? And I always try to keep myself close to the streets, to the homeless, to the kids, to the seniors. When I was raising my kids, I would take them to the nursing home, play bingo with the elderly people, even though they would cheat, because my daughter was playing bingo all the time, and they'd be clapping. I'm trying to win a game here. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, what my grandmother instilled in me, I try to instill in my children so that we can pass it on and do our little part to make the world a better place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Toya, with a T, what's on your heart, sis? Toya, you there?
No, I was going to say, no, this is a great topic, but we have a lot of great topics. But the point of the matter is, how do we get people to reflect on themselves and look at their own accountability? Right? That's why we're hypocrites in the first place. Because, like the situation with Jesus, so I gave y'all dominion to make law. You take the law and say women are property. So, okay, I allow that. Now we get here, and because she sleeps with him and not you, y'all all want to stone her according to the laws that I gave you dominion to create? No, you're not. You're going to drop some stones right where you're at and go on somewhere and sat out. Basically, in a nutshell, that's what they did. Because he had given us dominion. Let me rephrase it. He had given you men, according to the Bible, you men had dominion first. We were up under y'all. We were your subjects. We weren't even counted in the Bible. We were only counted as they counted you. So there was 15,000 men that did not include women and children. So you men had created the law that us women were property and could be used to be with whoever y'all want us to be with. And now in this particular situation, this particular young lady and this particular man decided to get together under that law. And now she's got to get stoned because she wasn't used for who she was supposed to be with. And that's my understanding, which is, again, they were whores and prostitutes. And Jesus basically called out pimps. Now, y'all use this law. Y'all said this is the law. And now, because she want to do it, because she want to do it out of love, not because y'all made her. Now y'all think y'all going to stone her when really deep down it's because he got some and you couldn't get none? No, you're not. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to first acknowledge accountability for one. And then for two, I believe this is another reason how you got into slavery.
Yeah.
Because here you go. Oh, well, they do it to their people. We're not going to do it to our people. But let's get these people over here that we don't identify with and get them to do all the work. Here we go again. You gotta have that accountability. Because even though you see the situation going on, you know that you wouldn't want to be the one in the situation, but you're gonna go with the flow until it happens to you or yours. That's been humanity from the beginning of time. From the beginning of time. And that's gonna be an issue. Let's take it back to Cain and Abel. an issue with being able to be accountable for the things that you do. And when you don't do it, oh, now I'm going to get mad at you and kill you now. Because we both have the same opportunities, we both have the same dominion, but we both do different things. And the one that's not according to God is what you're going to get mad at. So that's going to be the complicated part of getting someone to acknowledge their own actions in order to be lenient or have empathy for anybody else. Because these zombies around here, we blind around here, honey. And when you possess, and I believe before you have that interaction with the Lord, you possess. You think you're perfect. You see, you don't see that you're not perfect. Oh, you're just doing everything. Oh, this, that, and the third. You don't see it. So how we're going to get to a common ground where people actually stop and look and think about the log in their own eyes, that's another scripture. Before we can actually do that, how are we going to get people to actually self-reflect and understand, hey, ain't no need of me talking about them being like the last young lady that said, being promiscuous, because here I am, been married 5 different times, and I'm mad at the girl who done had 3 boyfriends. Stop with the jokes.
Exactly. Toussaint, I'm coming to you, and Cassandra coming to you next with the same question. So be on standby for me there. Toussaint, she brought something very interesting to the conversation. She said that God gave men dominion, and we abused it. Toussaint, is the family out of order?
Go, yeah, well, yeah, been that way. Not everybody. Well, I don't know about that either. Because I think that somebody said in that they want their child to be raised like this, but they was kept out of jail. They knew right from wrong and respect for the elders, and they knew how to dress and yes ma'am, no ma'am, and nothing wrong with that. Some people think something wrong with saying yes ma'am and no ma'am. Thank you. And excuse me. You don't even know how to use a fork and a spoon at the table. Matter of fact. Matter of fact. Exactly. And then go check under your bed in your children's room. Why they got cups and plates under there? What's going on? What's really happening? And then there's no curfew. Remember when we were playing at a certain time at the end of the day in the evening and the lights start flashing?
Yes, sir.
Street lights.
It was time to get to the house. Remember when there was dinner time? When the last time we had a dinner time?
Oh, wow. You
talking about order? Why is it that all of a sudden, because of this pandemic, husbands and wives finding out that they're not meant for each other? Been together for years, going in 2 different directions. Married because their finances is in order. But then now they have to sit together. And they find out that we got money, but we ain't got no love. Ain't that something?
Wow.
I'm just saying. Yo, order. What order? Where we get our order from? Because we got these mighty men and women of God, but the husband and the wife don't go to church together. Oh, really?
Toussaint hitting hard this morning. Yes, sir. Cassandra, what do you say to
you talk? Wait, one more thing. Remember when the children used to sit at a certain place? In that we don't even go to church. We leave our children at home. Go ahead, Cassandra.
Say that.
Cassandra, is the family out of order?
Oh, absolutely. And even as a single woman, I miss the family structure, because I've always believed that the man is the head of his household, and that we, husband and wife, when there are decisions to be made, we should talk about it. And I've taught this to women for years in classes that I've done in churches, all kinds of churches. You talk about if there's a decision to be made, you talk about it. And if you can't come into an agreement, let him make the decision. Let him go ahead as the hot head make the decision. And that way, it turns out right or wrong. Who's it on? It's on him. It's the head. Even if you know and you try to say, maybe we need to not do this. Let him, if you cannot come to a decision, let him make that final decision. And then if it goes right or wrong, it's not on you, it's on him. So he can't say, you overrode me, you tried to, no, baby, I tried to tell you. So I allowed you as a head to make the decision. So now that's on him. So then you, even though something may have gone wrong, he can't say you tried to take over or control the house or anything else. That's on him. That's on him. And I've been always big on that. I know that I talk a lot of trash. I do, and I say what I gotta say. But guess what? In my household, when I was married, let's put that, when I was married, my ex-husband, if he was alive, would tell you, he was the head of our household. I listened to him. I let him make the decisions. We would talk about stuff, but the final decision was always his. Because I never wanted the fact that I was a leader in church to dictate that I was a leader in my home. My husband was the leader. I've always been like that.
Now watch this. Captain Leonard.
Yes, sir.
It sounded to me like Cassandra Pat playing the blame game on me.
Well, you know what? I agree with Cassandra.
I do too.
Because, she's talking to you about a woman who understands what's required and how things work and wanting to be a part of something as opposed to just raising hell and disagreeing. And like she said before, right, if it goes good or bad, he made the decision. That's responsibility. That's his responsibility. So, like say for instance, you were talking about different things and why we were taught never to judge people and why I can be unconcerned about how you live your life. Because it's your choice. I'm not going to say someone else's family is messed up. That's their family. They may have issues and problems, but I never thought it would be like my family in the first place because they're not like us. We have things in common with those we have things in common with. And we shouldn't try to force it or like one. Do you want to have dinner? Then have it. It's not that big of a deal. Why are you not having dinner at a certain time if that's what you want to do? That doesn't mean that other families are not functioning well because they don't sit down and have dinner. That's the way you did it. So it may not be for that particular family. Like my family sat down and had dinner. It's because that's when, if you wanted to have dinner with my father, that's when he was available. So that was the time where if you really wanted to talk to him or something like that, where we would sit down at the table because that's what he wanted. We sat down because that's what he wanted. So, and he insisted on those things. If the man of the house ain't insisting on it, why would it happen? Why would it happen? Or if the mother isn't insisting on it, why wouldn't it happen? So if you've stopped doing it, it's because that's what you've chosen to do. Say for instance, I have two sons. One is 22 and the other one is 23, and the other one is 14. He has a very different work schedule. I look like a fool making him be home at a certain time to eat dinner. People grow up. You grow up. You have a few years to establish what you would consider the best home that you can. But I don't think it's y'all, a lot of y'all reminisce about things, but that's different today. And it's not to say it's a bad thing. It's not that to say sitting down at the dinner table was the magic ingredient to make perfect families either. You can sit down at the dinner table every day and be just as nasty and rotten as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Don't so I think that we have to understand people do different things. They have different, you know, ways that they live. It's not to say that if you're not living like this, you wrong or right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Time will let you know if you're wrong or right.
Mm-hmm. But my thing is, and one of the things that one of the reasons why we're real big on, and we still do it. When we have dinner, we don't eat dinner all over the house. Everybody go to the table, go to the kitchen table. We sit at the kitchen table, we eat together. And like I say now, it's my wife and I is here. Our daughters are grown and gone. But even when they come home, it's the same thing. We're gonna sit at that table. Two of my daughters are married with husbands. When they come, we're gonna sit at the table.
Right.
We're gonna
But
all
it
sit
has
at
to
the
be
table.
established.
Yeah, yeah,
It
that's
just don't happen.
yeah.
It
And
just
see
don't
that,
happen.
but see the thing about it, we've been doing it for so long. Is we don't even have to say it. It's understood. When it's
Right.
time, when it's time to eat, we going to the table. Everybody gonna gather around that table, get the chair at that table. We're gonna sit there. We're gonna pray over the food, and we're gonna eat and have conversation. That's the time we can communicate with each other. Right, everybody's right there.
Mm-hmm.
You can communicate and what's going on, how you been, man, what's going on in your life, what's happening, and
Right.
we can talk to each other in that way and build. And if something that's going on and we need to talk through, we'll talk through it right there while we're eating that food.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but like I said, that's not everybody do that, man. It's just what we do here. And we've been doing it forever, and I can't ever see that really changing. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Rico, calling from Madison, Alabama, man. Welcome to a beautiful new day, everybody.
Welcome to another day. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain, man. I'm out here trying to get it in.
Rico, I'm gonna switch up while staying the same with you and ask you this question. We're talking about the family, man. We started out talking about people that go to church and how they judge people, but now we're talking about the family. Rico, how does you feel when you hear a young lady and she's very adamant about the fact that we're talking about the family? I don't need a man. What does that immediately say to you?
Well, I look at it as being a modernized, infected with a mindset type of woman, infected with today's mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she got too consumed with the movement of the music and the trend with being independent. I think about if I hear a woman say that, I know that she's been pretty much influenced and programmed by women. Maybe I'm gonna say maybe she wasn't exposed to people from the past that felt different. Because right now you hear women nowadays criticize our ancestors, our queens from before the 60s and the 50s. All the ones that decided to keep the bra on and not burn it.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that told to be virtuous instead of promiscuous. Those women are looked at as fools. Girl, them women back then were stupid. They put up with all that stuff, talking about keeping some family together. And then I think to myself, you know what? She don't even understand what the identity of family is or how important it is to have a family and a support system.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I know that she's been infected.
Wow.
She's been infected with this new mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as I was hearing people talk, we are speaking in general because there are numerous things that cause the I'm gonna say I won't say de-evolution, but people evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Civilization evolves. In the process of civilization, some of the things that we practiced in the past that were good for us because we took it for granted, though we forgot about how valuable it was, they get lost. They become collateral damage.
Mm-hmm.
So over time, with this civilization evolving, we came up with first shift, second shift, and third shift jobs. I'm speaking on this from a personal experience. First time I ever seen a person get a third shift job, it was my mama. In 80, she took a third shift job at a plant.
Mm-hmm.
They taught her how to run a CNC machine. She had to go to school first. And I went months, weeks, couple of years. I was seeing my mama for a few days, for a few hours, and spending my most time with her on the weekends. So all that routine that we had, that we took for granted, having dinner every day at the same time, coming in, everybody come in and eat at the same time. Yeah, we had microwaves, but it was still just a practice. We took for granted the conversations that we had. Mm-hmm. We took for granted the information that we learned from each other during those times. And everything started changing. Little by little, I started seeing that, we weren't having the conversations. The food wasn't right. Mama was cooking and she had to leave it out for us because by the time I got home from school, she was going to work. Mm-hmm. So Leonard said it a second ago. But the thing is we still have to remember some things we didn't sacrifice. Mm-hmm. So we sacrificed a lot of important things that we really looked at as not as big a deal. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't just sitting down having dinners at the table with your family. There are numerous things over time that has made the family not seem as important because we don't do the things that we're supposed to do for the community and for the family. And now we're walking around lost, wondering what's wrong with the family. Mm-hmm. So is the family out of order? Yes, sir, the family out of order because, this is the prime example. Candace Owens. Can't stand her. Mm-hmm. But one thing I'm going to tell the truth about is that we need to put that black man back in the head of that household again. And I don't know, sometimes that she used that as bait to try to get people to come along her journey or to side with her. But the truth is the truth. I don't care who tell it or where you hear it from. Mm-hmm. And so you look at that and understand that, okay, if that tradition is missing and we realize how important it is now to have a man at the head of a household, we're way out of order because right now, a lot of people in society saying a man ain't a man. Mm-hmm. Or some people think that the duties of a man is what make a man. Just because you say a man's supposed to do this, a man ain't supposed to do that. If he ain't doing it, he ain't no man. That's a lie. If he got a penis and balls, he a man. Mm-hmm. Wow. But you got some people in society saying, you know what? That don't even make him a man no more. Mm-hmm. Here I am with breast and estrogen, and I say I'm a man. Mm-hmm. And here I am with penis in the ball, and I'm saying I'm a woman. And society said, yep, he sure is a woman. Mm. So we are completely out of order because if the man's supposed to be the head of the household, what is a man? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Good deal. Let me keep this thing going. Let me go 2 songs. Say you had some 2 songs. What's on your heart, brother?
Nico made me think about something, and I'm laughing, but it's not funny.
Leonard.
Something I hope nobody gets offended. You probably will. Somebody's going to get offended. Mm-hmm. And so they come and get me off my job later. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna say this now. Shut up. Just put it out there. It used to be common to be on the down low.
That's a whole different conversation there, brother. That's a whole different conversation there. Curtis, good morning. How you doing this morning? Hey, Curtis, we can barely hear you, brother.
What up, man? What's going on?
What's going on with you? Curtis, how does it rub you, man, when you hear a young lady say, I don't need a man?
It rubs you like, oh, so you bought the lie. You bought the bread for $1. You bought the bread for $1. Ain't no other way to put that. Because okay, so let's break this thing down, man. Let's just be literal for just a second, right? Even if a young lady decides that she don't want a man in her life, she don't need a man, but she wants kids, right? Mm-hmm. Even if she decides that I'm not going to lay down with a man to have this baby, right? Right? She has to go to a fertilization clinic and get what?
Get sperm from a man.
you gotta go and get the sperm from a man. So here we go. You done bought into the lie that you don't need a man. Now, I'm gonna state it plainly. The only man that is stated that ain't needed on American soil is the African American man. Let's just be real. Let's really call it what it is. The only man in the United States of America that is deemed useless and not needed is the African American man. That don't strike. That you is odd.
Wow. Look at, and there's so many different ways I could go with that comment right there, man. There's so many different alleys. You open up a lot of alleys right there because you look. Go ahead, Leonard.
Excuse me.
No, I saw you just unmute yourself. You want to?
I was just pressing the button, but I'm just listening because there's a lot of different perspectives on that issue.
Yeah.
Because one, believe it or not, as traditional as I am, if a woman says she don't need a man, she don't need one. That's her business. Because remember, we automatically associated with making a baby. Maybe she don't want no babies. Maybe she's just that type of woman. Everybody is not meant to be married. I understand that. But when people talk about the home and getting life together, you didn't mention marriage at all. That's one of those institutions that help build this type of behavior. Why would a man be at the head of a household that he don't provide for?
But see, my thing with that, and I want to make sure that you were finished before I interject you. My thing is this right here, man. I think that there's a certain balance that everything has to have. And if we're gonna deal with that balance, the way that it was designed, the balance and the way that it was designed, the man take anything, and no yawning, Tiffany. The man take everything and he corrupted. Man took sex, corrupted sex. Sex supposed to be a beautiful thing between a husband and wife. To God said, go out there and multiply. It's supposed to be a beautiful thing. Man take music, which is supposed to be a beautiful thing, and we have a tendency sometimes to corrupt even the most beautiful things and turn it into what we want it to be to fit what we want it to the little box that we want to fit it into, and not dealing with it from the natural beautiness of it all. And I say that to say this right here. I think that the way God created it is there have to be a certain balance, and in that balance, a man needs a woman just as a woman needs a man. We need each other in order to make it. That's why Adam was.
But is that in the terms? Is the man woman being used? Is man and woman being used interchangeably with husband and wife?
Now that's a good one. That's real good, and that complicates it. Some would say yes, and I would say no. It should not be. Should it be? I would say no, because it should be husband and wife. Because that's what I said when I said about the beauty of sex. It was supposed to be something that was designed for a husband and a wife to go out there and to procreate and to make babies. But at the same time, I've heard people ask questions, and I don't know of any dialogue. I know it was different at that time, but they say, well, y'all talk about all this married thing, but Adam and Eve were not married. But at the same time,
Can I ask a question? I want to ask a question right quick.
Yeah.
When y'all talk about the apple being eaten, when they ate the apple, this did make them more intelligent, right?
No, I'm not gonna say more intelligent. It exposed certain other things to them, which all intelligence ain't good intelligence though. But go ahead. I think I know where you're going with it.
Because I'm wondering if it made them more intelligent and gave them more knowledge, didn't it complicate things?
Yes.
Away from the basics. And so I'm sort of thinking about that because I'm looking at society, and I think the more intelligent we become, the more we complicate things. And sometimes we can put out a message out of this intelligence when we really and truly some things are simple. Curtis said something that really, I think something had stuff fly with people's head on here all the time because I think we be so anxious to speak and respond and not agree. That woman go to that sperm bank, she got to get something that only a man can produce.
Yeah.
Or she can't to fertilize that egg. How much more complicated do we need to be? We don't need, we can speak as eloquent as we want to. We can have all the degrees we want to. We can be as well versed to travel and be as successful as we want to. But without that egg and that sperm, neither one of them are any good. So, I mean, you know, when Curtis said that, if a woman says that she don't need a man for nothing, she done took just the basic process of why man exists for granted. And she done got attracted to this material, intelligent, civilized thinking that makes her sound so dumb. I mean, this question is a yes and a no, simple. The egg needs the sperm needs the egg. This woman said that, somewhere she done got drunk.
What?
Wow.
If a man says he don't need a woman, if he want children, he drunk. Something ain't right.
And you have to clarify when you say need for something.
So, I mean, how much intelligent, how much more intelligent do we need to be for us to understand that one needs the other to produce life, or we wouldn't even be here?
Can we be honest about this though, y'all?
Let's talk about it.
Because this is where we complicate it. Now y'all know that when we say that we don't need a man, it's not because men do everything that they're supposed to. They get up, they handle their business, they do their work, they're on their own, they do their this, they do their that, they hold it down, they stand firm with what the Lord says. And y'all already know that's not what we're talking about when we say why we don't need a man. We're talking about the exact thing we're talking about, like we were speaking of from the beginning, on how men start to distort things. And see, now I don't want to be bothered with you. Because I thank the Lord for having a choice to be led by, listen, I love a man. I love the idea and the thought which God created. But when some of these males start falling out of line, and I hate to have to judge, they start falling out of line, and I go out on the land and work, and you don't. And when I come and I be good to you, and you beat me, or you cheat on me, or you do this, or you do that, or you do these things that make someone not want to be bothered with you, y'all know that's what we're talking about.
Okay, so basically, would the verbiage be better if it was said that I don't need a sorry man, or you know?
You need to clarify what you need somebody for.
Oh, look, it's vocabulary again.
Ain't nobody saying that they don't want nobody good. You whether you're a man or a woman, who don't want a good one?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I said that. And that's why I say that, because a lot of time, you know, when you say I don't, it's so wide open when you say I don't want a man. That's so wide open, and that leaves error of interpretation sometimes.
Like you said, make it more complicated.
Listen to the lady. Listen to me as property, right? I'm property to y'all. And you treat me as such because it's the law. So why would I want that? I only want the woman who treats me like love, man.
That's
because
good.
the one that I love, the one who I'm going to appeal to, the one that I want to know, not the one I want to lay with or lie with, the one that I want to know, the one that I'm intimate with, the one that I love, the one that I lay down and have a baby with out of love and not out of law. That's what I want. So again, if you say that you don't want a woman, it ain't because it's a good woman. It's going to be because she's the one that gives you the headache. She's stealing your money, or she's jumping and fighting and beating on you. It ain't going to be the one that loves you. And no matter what society says, they're going to treat you not like a man about money, but that they're there for you. You know they're going to have your back. That's the woman you want. You don't want the regular woman that everybody, like what we're talking about. The greedy one, the one that's going to give you a headache, the one with 5 baby daddies. I mean, stop. Like, come on. Let's be honest. That's how we're going to get to the root of the problem, being honest. And oftentimes what we do is we speak out of our experiences with the opposite sex. So let's get back on sex to man.
That's good.
The first impression that y'all make is the one that's going to be led. And I'm watching you as a woman, always and forever, your whole entire life. You're looking at you as women. And as soon as you step out of pocket from being a man, whether you conscious of it or not, everything else is going to break, period. Because you're the men. So whether they were mistakes, whether y'all grown to be not inhumane or whatever, Let's be honest. We know why women say they don't need a man. And it's not because of the good ones. It's because of the Ike. It's because of the now you want to stone me. Oh, now I don't want to be with you. Forget the fact that you beat on me or you cheat on me. You're still going to be mad because I don't want to be with you. So now you're going to do all these terrible things. So that's why, if we haven't known, that's why. That's why women say we don't need a man.
Okay.
And that's why some men would say, I don't need a woman. You ain't got to say trophy wife. You ain't got to say that. We already know what you're talking about. So let's get back on track. Let's be 100 about what we're talking about, on why we say that, and let's get to the root of it. And let's, again, reflect on ourselves as men. Y'all don't do what the hell y'all supposed to, and that's why we feel like we don't need y'all.
Okay, hold on right there, Toya with the T. Badger, what's on your heart, brother? And Tucson, I know you say you had something to him. Circle around everybody. Be patient. We'll circle around to everybody. But Badger, good morning. How you doing this morning?
That's another beautiful, blessed day.
Yes. What's on your heart, brother?
So I was sitting here listening to everything, and I had this random thought pop into my head.
Oh Lord, that's scary.
Yeah. Wasn't Satan male? So a masculine energy talked the woman into eating the apple.
Okay.
Satan wasn't a man.
I'm talking about masculine.
He wasn't.
So was he? But we say he.
Right, because that's what you want to say. But Satan was an angel, according to the scripture. Remember, I'm not one of those Christians sold out on this Adam and Eve story anyway. So I don't get offended and don't pretty much care. But to try to make it what you want to be, I think is even worse.
Okay, that's fair.
Just let it be. It is what it is. She just explained.
No, I agree with her.
Yeah. I think sometimes people misinterpret that, when we get caught up in these things and try to make them what we want them to be. Like, I don't need a man. Maybe you lesbian. Maybe she's a lesbian. Maybe she's a lesbian.
Leonard put a whole new spin on this thing. Leonard bought
because I think it's very important because independence means so much more to me. And Toya just made a comment that I think was just too off the chart to let go by. You know what? You're not my property. I don't own you.
Yeah.
So I raise y'all hand if you men call in if y'all believe that women are property, because I don't know nobody since I've been born that get down like that.
I'm gonna tell you something. If somebody call in and say that, it's not gonna be a comfortable place for them today. I just want to say that to them.
But I don't get offended like men do when women say they don't need no man. Maybe they don't. They doing whatever they want to do, how they want to do it. When they won't, I know what you're gonna need me for though.
Well, pretty much what I was going to get at is, most of you guys know I'm matriarch. I don't believe in all the men, as in males, should be running everything. There's too many egocentric, prideful men in this world. Way too many. And there's and as far as what Leonard's saying, I can direct you to a whole lot of men that think they own their women. Matter of fact, me and my wife tried to help a woman get out of a very nasty relationship, and that man will tell you in a heartbeat, no, she belongs to me and no one else. And then she'll sit there and say, well, I can't, God said we're not supposed to divorce and all this other stuff. And she's staying in an extremely toxic relationship and doing it because of her Christian teachings. And he's also thinking that because of the teachings that were put out, that he controls her. So this is a mentality that exists. But hopefully it's becoming less than, but it's still there.
For me to agree with you on that, I would also have to disagree with the idea that there's not women out there that feel the same way. There's a lot of women out there that feel like their man is their property, and if you ain't gonna be with me, you ain't gonna be with nobody, and they have that attitude. And so we can't one side this argument and say that men are just the most terrible things in the world. Maybe some of them are, but so are some of the women. And so if we're going to be honest and going to be fair about this whole thing, we have to deal with both sides of the coin. We can't just say men are terrible and some women are not.
I agree with that. I had a sociopath mother, so
Mm-hmm.
100% agree that there isn't bad women out there either.
Yeah, yeah. And so, like I say, for me to agree with you, I have to disagree with the fact that there are no bad women out there, and I know that there are. Tucson, you wanted to say something?
No, I think that based on the conversation that we're having, the choices are few
Mm-hmm.
for both parties.
Mm-hmm.
Because women say, or if they say, well, I'm not talking about the good man or whatever you call it, whatever that is, good
Mm-hmm.
man. I'm talking about the sorry ones or the abusive ones or the one that ain't worth a dime. And so the choices are few.
Mm-hmm.
And then don't talk about the women because they come with mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Too
Mm-hmm.
much mouth.
Oh, you about to get yourself in trouble now, boy.
And wait a minute, wait a minute. I ain't finished. I'm not finished.
Oh,
I'm not finished. I'm not.
oh, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Be careful now.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm going. Here's the
Mm,
road. Here's the road
mm,
I'm traveling.
mm,
And then they got there to show you that they got more balls than you.
mm, mm,
Wow.
mm,
Well, it's not it. Yeah.
mm.
So here I am trying to be a man,
Oh, Lord
and
Jesus.
and
I'm trying to
and
help him.
your sack of gold.
Mm.
Wow.
Hey,
I'm
Tucson, hold on, let me stop you, brother,
I
because,
ain't gonna say nothing else.
whoo,
I ain't
Lord
gonna say
Jesus.
nothing else.
Tucson, Tiffany, what's on your heart, sis? Yeah.
See, I think you be trying to set me up, Raheem, because you could have been called on me. You're gonna wait till after that. All right, I see how you do. I see how you do. So men are the head, right?
Yes.
And they're supposed to be the leaders. They're supposed to lead women. They're supposed to lead the families. They're supposed to lead.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is
Let me say this
they
before. Let me say this before you said it, because Farrakhan said this quite a few years ago. He said, and I want to get it close to what he said. I'm not going to get it exactly, but he said, in order to be the head, see, men always talking about they want to be the head, but in order to be the head, they have to have a head. And I'm talking about the one that's on your shoulder. And so some haven't. But go ahead.
So the men are the head. They dictate the rules,
Mm-hmm.
even in the Bible. But going to the Adam and Eve story, that's why I can say I'm not Christian, Muslim, whatever, because I'm confused. Because a lot of things just don't make sense. Because men make the decisions, but women always get the blame. So when our mothers and grandmothers and stuff were coming up, and they had husbands that worked, came home every day, sat down, ate dinner and stuff like that, they still had side chicks on the other side of town. They still had side families. They had side babies and stuff like that. But let a woman turn around and do the exact same thing. She's a whore. She's a slut. She's all these things. I learned it from the master. You dummy. So, I don't understand why we have the double standard when we learn from the head. You know what I'm saying? We are the twin. We are the stepchild of this behavior, because the black man, especially, everything that he learned from the oppressor. So therefore, we look to them, we learn from them, we do what they do. Not all of us, but a lot of us do what they do. And so that's where that mindset comes from. I'm not saying it's right, because it definitely isn't right. Do we want a man? Of course we want a man. If you're a heterosexual female, of course you want a man. You want to be with somebody. You want to grow old with somebody. But there's a lot of males wearing the costume, but the actual man, there's not that many around. And in somewhere in the Bible, it talks about having your heart's desire. I desire a black man. And I don't like being told by other people, other women especially, girl, get you a man, any man, Chinese man, blah, 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 get you a man. If he loves you, blah, 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 why do I have to go outside? Not saying there's not no good guys out there, but if I want a black man, why shouldn't I have a black man? But there's not a lot of black men around that would, that I want to follow, because they too busy trying to wear my dresses, and I don't even like wearing dresses. So therefore, what are we supposed to do? And going back to the dinner table, because that's what I really wanted to talk about. I wrote a piece years ago, Back to the Dinner Table. because we complain so much about these kids not knowing nothing about our kids, the microwaves raising the kids, the video games raising the kids and stuff like that. When I was a little girl, we go to our grandparents' house and we sat at the dinner table. We had coffee with the Cornell mugs and the saucers like that. Grandpa sitting at the head of the table, everybody's talking about their day, and then grandpa falling asleep snoring every night afterwards at the dinner table. You know, you have memories, you have things to pass down, you have stories that will be embedded and stay in your brain forever. And parents don't know their kids today. Kids committing suicide every day, because even rich kids, because nobody's spending time with them, getting to know them, getting to understand them, stuff like that. So I say, yes, the dinner table is fine. And then even if you can't, you know, when my children were small, we used to cook together every weekend. We make desserts one day, we make dinner one day, we measuring cups and doing this and conversing with each other. Stuff like that, building the bonds. And we don't do that because we let everybody just spread out into their own situation. And then the only time you want to come together is Christmas. You want to sit at the table. Thanksgiving, you want to sit at the table. Easter, you want to sit. All these pagan holidays, you want to sit at the table. But 360 other days, you don't want to have nothing to do with each other.
It's what's amazing is you named a couple of holidays when people come together, and I got another call. I'm gonna go to that caller. But one of the biggest times that most families come together is at a funeral. When somebody passed. When somebody passed, you know, the family come together. Oh, I ain't seen you in so many blah, 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 you know, all this stuff. And it's a sad occasion. You know, we've lost somebody. Now we're going to make all these promises. We're going to get together. We're going to see each other at least once a week and once a month or something like that. And it never works out that way.
And can I just add to that too? They go to the funeral for their mother or their grandmother who they hadn't talked to or seen, and I don't know when, but they the first one heaping and hollering. And then Mother's Day and Father's Day, you don't even talk to your mother the whole year, but on Mother's Day you want to go take her out, buy her flowers, stunt in front like it's all kumbaya. And then when she needs a ride to the grocery store, you're nowhere to be seen because you don't have time. And then Father's Day, you talk about the father 365 days a year, but then when Father's Day comes around, now you're looking for him. Now you want to spend time with him, and then you ignore him the rest of the year. So to me, I think it's all a bunch of crap, because if it's in you, it should be in you all the time.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to the caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning, this is Bishop.
Bishop, good morning. I ain't got my bell this morning, man. I usually blow the horn or something like that. I can't blow it. I ain't got it with me right now, but I have it next time. Bishop, what do you say to a young lady? And we're talking about the young lady that say, I don't need a man. What comes to your mind when you hear a lady say that?
Well, I ask the question, what are you looking for? You don't see a man. What are the characteristics that you're looking for in the man or in your Boaz? That's what I'm going to say. Look for my Boaz. And most of them, they don't.
Bishop, let me step in. Let me step in 1 second, Bishop. And I want to do some clarity for a second here. Everybody, they've been saying that for years. They're looking for their Boaz. Now, how old was Boaz?
That was Bishop.
How old was Boaz? And these women, how old was Boaz?
I can tell you how old Boaz was. I can tell you. I know he did.
He was an old man. Boaz was an old man. And yeah, he was very old. But go ahead. You know, they I want my Boaz, but that man was old as Methuselah. But go ahead, brother. Women don't want no old man like that.
And I tell them when they say that, in fact, when I preach it, and so if you're looking for your Boaz, you know what you're looking for, so you find yourself getting just a as.
Oh Lord, just the last part of it.
You drop the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he ain't got no job.
Nothing.
He's sitting home on the couch playing Wii or PlayStation. You out there working. So you got your Boaz that you were looking for, but you didn't realize he was just an ass. So that's not out there. There it is. You here? I knew Bishop was coming in on right there.
Cassandra, I can't go nowhere but to you right now. Rico, coming to you next, brother. Cassandra, you there?
Why you coming to me? What is the question?
The woman.
Because I need a man. I want a man.
You want a Boaz?
And I'm believing. I listen. Boaz was a good man. That's all that means. When women say that, just like when women say they don't need a man, the same thing. We're saying Boaz is considered a good man in the Bible. So that is what she's saying. Somebody that protects, that will provide that. What we say that men are supposed to do anyway, biblically. So that's all that is. It's not anything, against the man.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I have a Boaz, I would.
Okay. He kind of old though, Cassandra, but it's okay. It's all.
I don't care. I'm old.
Okay. All right, y'all gonna be old together, huh? I got you. Hey, it's okay. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, man, I'm going back to that dinner table thing too, man. The thing that was missing was that bonding.
Yeah.
When you have a bond, you able to sit down at that dinner table and spend time with them and tell, you know what, something ain't right. They ain't eating. They ain't talking like normal. This is their favorite dish, and they look like they got something on their mind. You might be able to tell something that's even wrong with your dad.
Yeah.
Just by the bond that y'all have. You take that time out, that quality time. So, that's one of the reasons why it's important. Like I said, we take for granted why we needed to do those things, because civilization evolved and survival demanded. Survival has too many demands. I mean, when you got to work third shift or second shift, see, those were the jobs my mom went back and forth between before I left our home. Second and third shift jobs. Man, so much went on that she was left out of touch on. And some of these same things I didn't realize she was picking up at the dinner table. They was picking up how I was acting, how my brother was acting. If something was going on between us, what's going on with you at school, it's hard for you to ignore somebody when you're sitting right there in the face. So we miss this bond and this quality time. But then, I want to sort of go back to how Toya came with the response after I said what I said earlier. And it sort of verified exactly what I meant. Because I said the truth is the truth regardless of who said it and where it came from. And plain and simple, if you want to create life, a woman gonna need a man and a man gonna need a woman. Even if they're sperm donors, you still need a man for something. So what it boils down to is we need to clarify. Because to come back and say, okay, let's be serious. The way she responded, that would almost came off as what I said was stupid. It was a lie, and it was ridiculous. But it was the bald-faced truth. And it was the absolute truth. The end all, the be all. That truth right there was, yes, a man needs a woman and a woman needs a man if they want to create life. To some form, even if she had to go buy that sperm, she still needed that requirement from that man. So I think sometimes we do complicate things. And in the process of wanting to just express our opinions, we don't listen to the simple things. So you came back and you said, maybe we need to clarify. I don't need a man if I got to go through this.
Yeah.
If I got to go through that. I don't need a man if I get out here and another man approach me and put his hands on me and he don't say nothing. If I got my man gonna be soft and weak like that, and he can't protect his family. I don't need a man if I got to be unprotected. I can understand that. So we have to be more clear on what we're saying, because the younger generation hears these things and then they make songs about it. And all of a sudden you start hearing women and men say, you know what? You don't need a man. You get you another woman. And the main reason they're saying they want another woman because they want somebody to take care of them and somebody to make them feel good. Because they do not realize the true purpose of a man.
Yeah.
So they get a lesbian in the house and now they tell a lesbian, you the man of the house. I've seen that. I've seen it with my own eyes. Somebody is confused.
Yeah.
To look at this woman that's dressing like a man, that's got everything artificial that says she's a man, to tell her that she's a man over the man of the house, over her children, that she had be a real man. So, sometimes we can actually mess up basic information that we should be living by, just by complicating it with all this other stuff
Mm-hmm.
and not clarifying that, this is what it really means.
Exactly.
So yes, we do. Women need men and men need women if they want to procreate.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're looking for somebody to depend on them to protect them and take care of them, they might not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, Toya, let me ask you this, because and piggybacking on what he just said, and I appreciate everything that was said. Is it a bad thing that a woman says she wants to be independent, be an independent woman? Is it a bad thing?
Well, I don't think so, because you got to think that when in the garden, supposedly in the story of the garden, we were both issued our own responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So no, there's a certain independence that I'm supposed to have. I'm only here to be a helpmate. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
However, when we become as individuals, my desire is for you to be more of a monster than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we miss it at, right? That's where we
Mm-hmm.
miss it at. When we have an expectation for a man that's supposed to be over what we're doing and what we're accomplishing and what we can do on a daily basis. When it doesn't meet that, now it's a weight issue. Now it's a challenging issue. But when God created y'all, he created us. So me being in the image of a God of my own, I already have my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the unfortunate of it is we both keep continuing to have issues because we're not doing what God says do.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no excuse. Oh, the man don't have to leave. No, you got your own head. You need to leave too. And if he's telling you to go have sex on the street and God said that sex is this, the sex is that, you're not supposed to do it for that, then you can say you listen to the man all you want to talk about religion. You're going to religion yourself right on the hell.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it. Stop playing. As women, we still have to understand what it is. But at the end of the day, let me tell you what I sum it up to, Raheem. Because I know I want to follow God, that means I had to really deal with this spiritual character that's telling me I have to surrender and be submissive to a man and let him lead. So I understand I got the opportunity to choose one.
Mm-hmm.
One to my Lord. And okay, when I choose him, then I get to submit some authority, but I still have my God-given right to say, hey, this is the right thing, this is not the right thing, and to make a move and leave. Jesus died for me to leave you if you're abusing me too.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So with me knowing that, I'm willing to submit to someone, but that someone has to do the right thing. And off the rip, if you come and ask me for sex before asking me to be your wife, you're an infiltrator.
Mm-hmm.
That's right there, tell me. You're not trying to do what God wants you to do. I'm sorry. I fell into that whole trip and this whole Alice in Wonderland thing that they got going on about the Bible. It got me. I'm telling you right now. It got me. And I'm following it like what you want to call me, a sheeple. Then that's what I am. And ain't nobody getting none of this sheeple belief. You heard me? And the first time a man says to me that he wants to have sex with me before marriage, that already lets me know you're not following God, and I don't think that I should be going up under that leadership. And that's how I'm playing my life out, because we can sit here and talk about all these excuses. The truth is what it is, and I don't need to be going through that, so I'm going to be the sheeple, and you can't get none until we get married. Mm-hmm. And when we go through these issues, it's going to be believed, because I believe that we are covered by this God, this Most High, that anointed you to be my leader, because I am a monster. And yep, I'd rather go on for the rest of my life single before I let another man infiltrate me that's not worthy. Period.
I'm living the single.
Women have a role of responsibility, and we got to use our heads there. At the end of the day, we're doing what God told us to do.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go. I'm making my way around. Tiffany, I did see your hand, but I want to touch a few more people before I come back to you. So write down what it is. I know you'll forget. But let me go to Curtis. Curtis, what's on your heart? And Badger, coming to you next.
Well,
turn your phone up a little bit, brother. Turn your phone up a little bit.
I think one of the greatest things we could understand, I don't want to say what we need to do, but I think one of the greatest things we can understand is to go back and read Genesis 3, right? Because number one, in Genesis 3, woman came from man.
Mm-hmm.
God, woman from man, right? That's number one. Number two, in Genesis 3, you get a form of deceit, a form of accountability. There's a host of words that you can find that pretty much tells you what's going on and what the devil tried to do. It is in my opinion that the greatest institution ever established to mankind is the family. It is the only institution, it is the only governing institution, morally governing institution that extends beyond just human beings. It extends in the animal kingdom and so forth and so on, right? And I believe that it is in my opinion that the greatest thing the devil ever did was separate man from woman. Man and woman make excuses for each other's failure, made man and woman try to deceive God, made man and woman hide from God. He even made man and woman kind of hide the knowledge that they received. You know, sometimes I think about this thing, and sometimes I wonder, at some point in the evolution of man, was God going to allow man to eat from the tree of knowledge? Sometimes I wonder that. I'm not saying that's what I believe, but sometimes I wonder if the reason why God didn't want man to eat from the tree was because man was not ready to eat from that tree. Mankind was not ready to receive the knowledge that they was going to receive once they bit from that tree. Sometimes I wonder that. I'm not saying I believe it, but sometimes it's a question.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But when you break it down, man, everything that we do, when the devil is in control, it is always to divide. If you look at what happened, it was a division. And God said, you know what? Since y'all want to be that wise, here's what I'm going to try and do. To stop the devil from doing what he's doing, I'm going to put anonymity between the devil's seed and your seed. That the one shall bruise the head of the other. Right? So if he's saying I'm going to put anonymity, which is a basic separation, if he's saying that he's going to put anonymity between your seed and God's seed, who is he talking about? Who is he talking to? Is it possible that he's talking to the devil and he's talking to Eve? Because at the end of the day, Eve has to bear fruit. So, I mean, it's easy to blame the other gender. That's easy because that's a part of the devil's play anyway, is to divide us.
Good deal.
When I heard Toya, and I'll end with this. When I heard Toya talk earlier, right after Rick spoke, right? I wanted to ask, so what if we took the same thought that she threw out, and what if you run into the dude that says the same thing about women? Is he justified in saying that in today's world? And if so,
Curtis, we got to move on, brother. Finish your thought.
Now, the question is, if so, the question is, it's simple. If we was to take that and say, what about the brother who feels the same way, just against women, right?
Okay.
With everything she cause and effect, why do we never question, well, why is this dude like that? Why does he think like that?
Okay.
Instead of just,
Right.
Good deal. We got to keep it moving. We had 3 minutes. We're keeping everybody in 3 minutes. We are closing in on our last hour, so we got to control our time a little better. Badger, what's on your heart?
Once again, just listening to everything, because a lot of things I think come from perspective, depending on, because 1,000 people can read the exact same thing and walk away with different points of views. So it's looking at things nowadays. It's really hard for me to say there's a lot of good men out there. I think there's more. I think there's bad women out there too, but it seems to be more bad men in my perspective, just based on all the things I look up and research and everything else. Um, most people, most of the time, it's when being around a bunch of males is sex, drugs, and alcohol kind of conversations more than most, and it happens from time to time when I've been in conversations with women and things like that, but it's a lot less. I just think like the way society has turned, um, especially once everyone came to America, is disturbing because the teachings of women are less than was very prevalent, um, and then you get down to slavery and everything else, and just people in general are property. It just spiral effect, and now we're in this day and age of picking up all the issues and things like that that our ancestors have done, more so on my part because I'm white, of having to undo a lot of things that, in my opinion, has put us in a screwed up society in this day and age.
Again, I would have to say, and I deal with both sides of the coin. I would definitely have to say that it depends on the circle that you're in, because I can't sit here and say to you that there's more men bad, there's more women bad. I can't say that because you're viewing it from your lens and the life that you've experienced, and so can't nobody say that you're wrong. But I would say from my experiences and my studying of people that the scale might be a little balanced, brother. The scale might be a little balanced. We got a call. I'm gonna go to Cassandra. We're gonna go to our caller. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Okay, I know you did not say the scale more on the scale balance between bad women and bad men.
Yeah, I did.
No, you did not.
Yeah, I did.
Really?
Yes.
For real. You believe that?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay. I ain't got nothing to say then. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave that right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So which way would you feel is more? There's more bad men or more bad women?
It's more bad men. It's more bad men. You can look at our world and see it's more bad men. Who are making all of the major decisions? Who's running everything? Men. So how can it be balanced?
So my thing is,
you can talk openly, you can talk in whatever realm you want to go in.
But my thing is this right here. A lot of times it's real difficult for me to give somebody the credit if they don't want to take the criticism as well. And it has been said for years, behind every great man there's a great woman. Maybe behind every cruel man there's a cruel woman that's pushing the same buttons in the same way. Because if you say if we can say behind every great man, and we give the women the credit, behind every great man there's a great woman. What's behind every cruel man? Is there also a cruel woman? Just a question. Tiffany, what's on your heart?
Shots fired. Everybody down. But I took some notes. So I can't remember who said it, but they said the greatest thing the devil ever did was separate the family. Mm-hmm. And, it makes me think about how back in the days, how we were forced to do things. Like when we were slaves, some of us were forced to be in breeding camps. And the black buck would have a sack over his head, and he'd be forced to have sex with his mother, sisters, and all the women so they can produce more slaves. And now it seems like in present day, we're breeding by choice. To say that we don't need a man, that's crazy. But to say what you said too, I'm going to give an example, Raheem, because I think that you might be a little off. the scale. So I drive motor coaches. And one day I went to College Park and I went to the Indigo Hotel and picked up like 35 men, right? All of them were black men. All of them were business owners or had great jobs. All of them were well-to-do. They got on the motor coach with their coolers and stuff like that. And I had the address where I was taking them off, dropping them off on Buford Highway. I had to take them there. And then I had to take them back to the hotel. These guys were on the motor coach. I didn't know at the time where I was going. I just had the address. These guys are sitting on this motor coach, 35 of them, and they do this every year. They're talking about their wives. They're talking about their families. Everything's good. They're talking about their businesses and stuff. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, these are some great black men, great, married guys, blah, blah, blah. I took them to a strip club on Buford Highway. So no judgment. So when it was time for me to pick them up, they were coming out one at a time, late coming out one at a time. And so one of the husbands said to me, he said, they've been friends since they were children. And every year they come together and they go to a different city all over the country and they turn up. Some of them will be with women, some of them won't, some of them will do this. So we're waiting for everybody to come out. One of the husbands, he met some stripper and he was like, I'm not coming, man. I'll see y'all tomorrow. And he stayed at the strip club. So, when we like to think everything, all that glitters is gold. We see these beautiful black families and they look like they're well put together. They have the nice homes. They go to church. They do all these things. I mean, when I heard these men talking about their families and stuff, I would have never thought that I was about to take them to a strip club. When I got there, I was shocked. And then afterwards, when one of them decided not to come because he had met a chick that he wanted to hook up with, and they said they do this on a yearly basis, it's like, come on now, y'all supposed to be at the head. And it's no judgment, you do what you do, but I'm a side baby. And I didn't know I was a side baby until I was 37 years old. And there's a lot of side babies walking around, but we out here judging people and what they do. But if it wasn't for my father, my biological sperm donor being whatever he was, and he was an adult and my mother was a child, so he was a predator as well, I wouldn't be here. So to say that there's more that is balanced, I don't know. Now, I do say that the times have changed because there was a time when women would put up, they would know their husband had a side woman or something like that and stuff. But now it's like women want to be just like men. If you can do it, I can do it too, and all this other stuff. And who's the teacher and who's the student?
But see, my thing is this right here, and again, I like to deal with both sides of the coin when I deal with an issue. And yes, that man was wrong. He was absolutely wrong. All this he was doing, want to stay there, want to do all that stuff. But that's his side of it. But was she also wrong in entertaining this man in that way because she know he was married?
She was a stripper. I don't think she asked.
Does that justify?
I'm just saying she's there to get money. So therefore, if the person, whoever comes in and they willing to spend that money, that's what she's there to do, to get the money. So and she's not obligated. She's not obligated to that man's wife. He is. He made the commitment to the wife. The stripper didn't make the commitment to the wife.
That's true. That's true. But is there an evenness even in that in a person that's doing stuff like that, knowing that you're enticing somebody to come out there and do evil? If I'm going to go to Bishop, but if I entice you to sin, that sin is yours, but do I have any responsibility in it as well?
Yes, but let me tell you something. I grew up around a whole bunch of people that smoked weed. And they would puff, puff, pass, puff, puff, pass. When they got it to me, I would pass. Because I didn't want to smoke weed. I made the choice. I got relatives that were crackheads, stuff like that, in the 80s, walking around like zombies, stuff like that, my age. I chose not to indulge in drugs. When I saw that commercial with the crack egg in the frying pan, this is your brain on drugs, that thing scared me. And I didn't want to do nothing like that. So you got the choice, but the flesh is weak.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna go to Bishop, but just like he made a decision, she also made that decision to become a script or whatever the case. She made that decision as well, and so there's responsibility tied up in that too. Bishop, what was and see, I just can't deal with one side. I have to deal with both sides. Bishop, what's on your heart? Bishop, you there? Cause they ain't got, cause they ain't got my little bell. You can't talk. Huh? Okay, I see how you do. I see how you do, Bishop. I ain't got my little bell to boom town. Now you can't talk. Okay. That's all right. That's good, man. What's on your heart, brother?
Well, I'm, listening to the conversation. So much, been said, and I appreciate the conversation to every extent. Women that, just like everybody, this is out of the particularly the dynamics of life. Women supposed to be with men, men supposed to be with women. The alteration came from, the devil can convolute the minds of individuals and trying to find that right person, which is sometimes the wrong person. Because if you're dealing with, trying to deal with the same-sex relationship, that's completely out of the order of God. Rico said something, I appreciate Rico, because Rico brings a lot of information from every angle. It is just something to make you go put your hand up on your temple and say, that's something else. And a lot of things that people don't see, that we've seen. So when the men ain't no good, I'm gonna get me a woman and find out we should get with that woman. The woman ain't no good either. So if there's nothing changed, you got a bad relationship either way it goes. So it's on you to focus on trying to make sure you get the right person, but get you right first. Make sure you are where you need to be. It ain't about trying to grab the bag or how they use it now. But it is what it is. But in a relationship, and I heard Pastor saying something earlier about some woman said because she's religious, she doesn't want to get a divorce, it's against God. I never read that. I read in the Old Testament where Moses gave them the consent to divorce based on certain things. Christ said when from the beginning it wasn't so, but because of people's hardness of their heart, these things were done. But Paul said in Corinthians that you can leave this person. And I'll just be, if I don't stand in a relationship that's toxic, I'd rather be by myself than to be in a relationship that's toxic, where a man beating on the woman or a woman beating on the man, where the man denigrated her and trying to destroy her mental stability. You ain't no good. You ugly. Nobody wants you. Nobody gonna want you. So you begin to try to berate her, to belittle her. Well, you're a man. You're a man. Well, you need a man to compliment you. You also need to be able to compliment the man. And if the relationship ain't working, don't try to hold on to something worth holding on to. Just because you want somebody in the bed. You want a penis in the bed. Let me tell you something. You go by the novel and stone, make yourself a little bit of toy. Go home and satisfy yourself.
Oh Lord, Leonard, where Bishop going? Where Bishop
going? I have no idea.
Where is Bishop
but
going right now?
He is still the good Bishop Gregory Adams.
Where is Bishop going right now?
Wherever he end up, he will still be the good bishop in my eyes.
Cassandra, help him, Cassandra. That's your brother. Where's Bishop going, Cassandra?
I don't know. He has that. I'm bringing
away to start here. Let me talk here.
He sure did, Cassandra. Yeah, he said it. Yeah. Lord Jesus. Okay, Bishop. We're gonna leave that right there, Bishop. Hey, let me go. As a matter of fact, Willa, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem. Good morning, Glory. I just wanted to comment about, I was trying to understand the conversation about are there any good men? I think that's the subject, or how many good men against women. I'm not really sure. Well, but I just want to go, and I always like to go with my experience. Go ahead, Raheem.
Well, they were saying, they were talking about the balance, and they kind of disagree with me when I say it's a balance between good men and good women. I think it's a balance out there. That comment didn't go over very well, but what do you think?
Yeah, but you know what? When you talk about bad men, or you got that has to be defined because we know good and evil. We know what's bad.
Did I lose all y'all or just Willow? There we go.
30. And I asked them because we had a debate about whether women could raise men. And I asked him, I said, okay, well, what makes a man? What makes a man?
Mm-hmm.
You a man, what makes you? And they really couldn't even define what a man was other than what was between their legs. And I said, that's not a man, that's just a male. That's somebody who has a penis. So that's a male. That doesn't make them a man. And then I related to my father. Now, my father was a great father. He took his daughters to do things. He taught us. He took us to church. But he was a bad husband. Because my mama called him all kinds of names of the things that he did. So when you define what's a bad man, then that's a broad subject. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You go into a relationship, like the bishop said, yeah, you found a lot of that. But just like you found a lot of men that are not good in relationships, you found a lot of women that are not good in relationships. So that subject is, open, really open.
Absolutely.
So that's my comment.
Good deal. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Oh, I'm just listening because, like you say, one, I have a very different experience. I ain't never been on either side of this issue because real men don't sit around and go back and forth about this, that, and the other. When you want a woman, you go get one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what y'all be talking about. I don't even care how many left. If it ain't but 2 or 3 left, I'm trying to get one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that whole back and forth thing, and I think Miss Willow kind of hit on that. It ain't about men and women. It's about me.
Mm-hmm.
It's about me and the type of man I am.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole notion, ain't no good men, ain't no good women. Boy, I just listen to those conversations because there are men who do bad just as there are women who do bad.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a good man, go find you a good woman, boom, done deal.
Mm-hmm.
But don't make excuses if you like living like a whore.
Huh.
Don't make excuses.
Mm-hmm.
These women it ain't their job to propose to men. So when men choose to do certain things and don't get married, you don't just have to go with him on his terms and do whatever he say and all this type of stuff. You got somebody you want to. I like the way Toya said it. I actually love Toya's point of view and plan on this issue because she has to look out for herself.
Mm-hmm.
Because no man is going to value her more than she values herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I tell all women, you're not going to beat me at being a dog. Remember, you fought to be equal to me.
Mm-hmm.
Duh, we wasn't doing nothing but being nasty. Welcome to being a man. I mean, so, what's the big deal? I hear people talk about this relationship issue all the time. You probably don't have a good relationship because you ain't probably a person that somebody wants to be around all day.
Mm-hmm.
Or so you haven't met that person yet. Or maybe you should be content. And I tell people who are single, if you're enjoying that, keep enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep enjoying it. Because you never know. Just wanting to be married is not the answer to some people, questions in life.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's not meant to be married.
Exactly. Exactly.
Some people are living great, healthy lives single. Everybody don't have to be married.
That's right.
But if you want to be about that business, there's a certain way you should present yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the way Toya said it because she gave you the exact prescription for how a woman need to be on alert and on guard.
All the time.
All he won't, trust me, you may think he want to just talk to you and be your friend. If he just want to be your friend and don't want to talk to you, then is that y'all agreement cool. But trust me, every man ain't around you just because they like your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Men want something.
Wow. Rico?
Yep, and on the other end of that, Toya said that, and she was justified in saying that because there are men that will approach like that, but it wouldn't be right for us to say all men are like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for the woman that says she don't want a man for that reason, what about the men that don't come for you for that reason? You see, it's about being self-sufficient. And I think somebody said something earlier about the duties of a man. Now, I can understand a woman saying, well, you know what? I don't need a man to change my tire for me. I don't need a man to change my oil for me. I learned all that on my own. Man, I can appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But then it goes back to this mindset that I don't need a man, period, because ain't none of them no good. So now that lets me know that somebody don't like to hold themselves accountable, because I know it's some good men out there, just like I know it's some good women out there.
Yeah.
If I hear a man say that, I'm like, nah, here it is again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What kind of man are you choosing? What kind of woman are you looking for? So people not holding themselves accountable because their value systems have evolved just like civilization. And the more things they value, they put that first, it clouds their judgment, and then they get mad at the decisions that they made. Prime example, some self-sufficient, independent women chose to be correctional officers in Baltimore. I bet you Curtis know this story. And these 3 correctional officers, some bad, foxy, you heard that a long time now, you foxy women, getting that money, INDEPENDENT. They boosted heavy, and they decide, all 3 of them, to get pregnant by drug dealing, gang banging murderers at the same time and lose their job. Now, all the men in this world, these independent, self-sufficient women chose to get with a known terrorist. That's what he was. He was a terrorist to humanity and to mankind, to society. He was a terrorist to the family and to the community. Everything that you shouldn't value in a man to bring life into this world, they chose it. All together. That ain't counting the women outside that had already been pregnant. Well, I mean, he was notorious, and that made him worthy. Now I look in my community a lot over the last 30 years and see a lot of women that had men that were quality men wanted them, but they were too lame. They were too square. But that dope boy or that gangster, the one that's always getting out of prison, when you got to raise your back on the house, you still willing to share him. But now all of a sudden, ain't no good men out here. So, you know, I do have to say, Raheem, you hit the nail on the head with those comments that you did earlier. But on that one with the strip club, you was always up here with that one, because that preacher knew what was in that strip club. That stripper don't know if those people are preachers, if they're single, if they're married. The only thing she knows is they men that coming out to see her, and she got what they want to see, and they got in their pocket what she gonna let them see it for. Now that preacher is the one that already knew, I'm walking into this house of temptation. He made the choice. Okay. That was more his fault for blowing up in that strip club. But that strip is not wrong for dancing for him, because he might not have had his collar on, or his cross showing, or his Bible in his hand. He might have been looking just like the dope boys. You know how we like to fit in. You know, these new Christians, it's hard to tell the difference. The music is almost the same. They dance the same, and now they dressing the same. So how was this stripper, why would this stripper even kill? Only thing she knows is whoever coming up in the strip club and look at this body, they want to see this body.
Okay, but my point,
expecting it to be no priest.
Exactly, but and I can receive that point right there. But my thing was the evenness in what she's doing and bringing them in and enticing them, just the occupation that she's doing. There could be some would say there could be some evenness even involved in that element of it. Rather, you know, he's a preacher or whatever he is, her position in it.
The strip club is the album. The strip club is the album.
Absolutely.
He chose the Bible, but he knew better.
But she also chose to. Who said what? Somebody said what? Who was that?
That was me. He knew she was better too. You don't be no stripper. That's not what you do. I mean, in the worldly terms, I can see why we do it, because people do a lot to get that bread, and Jesus forgives everything. So, you know, I done had my time of turtle or two there too now. Don't get me wrong now. I love a pole, but it ain't right. It's not what I'm supposed to be doing with my body.
Yeah, and that's...
In fact, it's because men think that y'all supposed to pass me around because I like you, and you don't have no real intention on marrying me. That ain't right. I'm not supposed to be sleeping with you if you're not going to be my husband. I'm not supposed to let you ejaculate into my vagina if we're not going to be married and raise that child together. no matter how much we do it passively, and society prances around and think it is. It ain't right. So no, she wrong for the stripping part, but I get it because I've been there, done that. Because men are weak like that. We know that's the way to them. So we gonna get that bread the way we know weak men do. But he was wrong too for taking his butt up there. So it's a twofold situation, but it still starts with men.
Absolutely. Good deal, man. This is a good conversation, but we got a little more than 30 minutes, 35 minutes. I want to get to our topic for the day because we can stay here. We can stay here another 2 days. Toya, let me come back to you and I'm asking you this question. What is, and we know the obvious answer. Let me go ahead and put that on the table. We all know what the obvious answer is. But what is a step parent?
That's the parent that steps in. When you, now this is the way my daddy broke down. See, my daddy didn't have all the traditional things in society says, but I know he was a real man. He was a real gangster. But he didn't have his fun with drinking. But when you meet a woman and she has kids, those are your kids too. And it's your job and your responsibility to take upon the child that she has as if it's your own. And that's what a step parent does, just like a stepmother. You're supposed to step in and fulfill the role of the parent that is not there. But you still got to understand your boundaries because just because I put a roof over your head and buy you food don't mean I put my hands on you. If you a step, that's where you step back. Don't get it twisted. I know I need you to step in, but at some point, you still need to know when to step back. And if you ate the seed planter of that flower pot, then you need to cease and understand, yeah, I feed you and I clothe you, but I need to step back when it comes to certain disciplines of the physical nature. Because I'm just a step in to fulfill what's not there. And that's what a step parent is. You step in and fulfill the roles of that parent that's not there to the best of your ability as if that child was your own.
Toya, am I hearing you say that and give me some clarity just on this part of it right here. If I was a step parent and I came in and I'm the breadwinner of the household, I'm going out there, I'm taking care of everything, paying all the bills. And if the child steps out of line and does something that he or she should not be doing, me as a step parent, I can't discipline them, take out their bill if I need to, or I need to wait till.
Well, first of all, you're gonna want the same respect as a man, whether you paying all the bills or not. Whether you a sorry son of a gun or you paying all the bills, you still gonna feel like you've entitled to do the both. But what I'm saying is, you need to understand your role. If you're a man that has a child and you're okay with another man putting his hands on your child because you respect his truth and his justice, then you go right on your head and put your hands on someone else's. Oftentimes, it's not the case. This is to what we were talking about earlier again. This is the hypocrite. Oh, don't put your hand on my kid, but you think that you can put your hand on someone else's kid. So I believe, me personally. Now, if you know you've been there from the time before, let's just say from before that baby came out the womb, and the only thing you are not is a sperm donor, and that child ain't never, ever know no other father, then that is no longer a step. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's why that parent ain't never been there, honey. You went from substitute to permanent. That's not the same.
Okay.
When they got a different parent who is active and been raising them a certain kind of way in that parent, then once womb entry exists, you got to be real skeptical and know with that woman or with that man, okay, how you feel about discipline? Because I'm a spanker. You understand what I'm saying? And you got to be real about being a spanker because whether it's your real child or not, you still should not be overly abusive to a child because you feel like you're the seed planter. So whether you paid it or not, if you know you're not the seed planter, or if you feel like you don't want no one putting their hands on your child, if you know that, don't do it. And that's something that you got to be a man or a woman enough to disrespect the game and not be wanting to do something out of control like a slave master. You want to do something now because you can. You understand? But we feel we got to revisit the issue of even being with somebody. Because that's you making somebody who don't want to do, you telling another human being to do something. Because they don't want to do it and they don't understand it. You want to beat them to make them do it. And then say, oh, I love you, I'm your parent, I clothe you, I feed you. Like we got to revisit that whole situation.
Wow. Okay. Let me see it. And let's everybody. We got 30 minutes, so we got to keep everything within the 3-minute realm. Let me go to Bishop. Bishop, what do you say to that, man? What is a step parent? Bishop, what is a step parent?
And technically, a step parent is supposed to be the parent that comes in to fill the void of the absent parent. And that child should be able to rely on him, her, for that mental support as it relates. You know, he's not, he may, the guy, I'm gonna use me. I'm not just a sperm donor. But if I marry this lady and she has a child prior to me coming to a relationship, then I'm gonna step in and be the father for that child. That's what I'm gonna step father, step mother. I'm stepping in to fill the void that's lacking. Now, if I'm gonna be your stepdad and I'm gonna feed you, clothe you, make sure you got everything that you need. If you step out of line as a father, I also have the right to discipline you. Now, discipline does not only mean I'm gonna take a strap and hit you. I may fuss at you. I may say some things that, you know, may not be all that pleasing or appealing to your ears because I'm not trying to correct you. But that means I have to be doing those things in order for me to correct you as your stepfather. If I ain't doing those things, then it is what it is. But I know I got a good friend, I'm gonna shut up after I say this. He married this lady. And the lady had a son. And the son got out of line. Now he's been doing all this stuff, taking the boy, they go to the park, they play. I mean, they do all these things. Boy got out of line. And he decided to discipline. The mother said, that's my child. You don't hit my child. I hit my child. And he said, well, wait a minute. I'm doing all this for you and your child. I became a father to your child. You said this to me. That's one word. Calls him say, I'm out. Because the way she came, because she did it in front of the child. And he refused to let a woman emasculate him. And he has how I feel. I said, hey, brother, who is this same thing? Wow. So now, that's a scar in that situation that this boy now looks at, okay, if I go bad, my mama going to take care of me. But the woman disrespected the man.
Wow.
It is what it is, but he wasn't going to take that mess.
Exactly. Cassandra, what do you say to that?
Yeah, I've been a step parent, and I absolutely adore my stepchildren, and they're all grown. In fact, one of them is in their 50s now, but they still love and respect me because I knew that I was not their mother. I let them know that from the time they were young. I'm not your mom, and I'm not trying to replace your mom, but I'm here for you. And there's certain rules and guidelines that we follow in this house. And I just explained it to them, even as kids. And I think that's what needs to happen. So I believe that step parents should be able to discipline the child. Because if you're in a home and I'm doing everything that a mother does, then that includes the discipline. And I'm like Bishop said, I'm not talking about beating anybody silly and stuff like that, but I should be able to discipline you just like all the other things that I'm doing for you. Discipline should be a part of that. That should be discussed with the mother beforehand, or with the father beforehand. This is how we're going to handle the discipline. Because if he's a man in the house and you think he can't discipline the child, there's something wrong with that. There's something very wrong with that. You know, but you know, I'm talking about from a spiritual, from a counseling, and just from a human standpoint, that doesn't make sense to me.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a reach right there. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm a step parent now. So what is your question exactly?
Well, what is a step parent? And we extended it by saying, should the step parent have the ability or the right to discipline that child, to include taking out the belt?
Absolutely. Especially if the step parent is doing what they're supposed to do, i.e. paying bills, um, and trying their best to be a father or a mother, they should have the right to discipline. I went through this with my stepson, and it's real easy. I just got on the phone, I called this father, I said, hey, look, man, I don't mean no harm, I don't mean no disrespect. But I know you raised your boy better than this, or I know you tried to raise your boy better than this. Here's what I'm going to do. So out of respect for you, I'm calling you because if it was me, I would get my high press tightened up.
Mm-hmm.
So I need you to tell me what you want me to do. And if all possible, I need you to come past here. I need you to tighten up the shot group. You understand? Because at the end of the day, Steph will know this kid needs to see that me and you are working together.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got to love me, but guess what? Just like I respect you, you respect me. He needs to understand that he needs to respect the both of us.
Mm-hmm.
I just seen my stepson. I just seen my stepkids' dad just Saturday. We hung out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That's my man. My wife, mother, she really don't understand. She's like, they tight? Yeah, we tight as 536 folks.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a mutual respect for each other. We have a mutual respect for just the ideology of being a man,
Mm-hmm.
being the step or being the parent.
Yeah.
We both have respect that we're both parents.
Mm-hmm.
And if my ex-wife, my ex-wife had a couple boyfriends or whatever. You know what I mean? If they had to tighten up my sons, okay, then if you gotta tighten them up, you gotta tighten them up. That's a part of the job description. You signed on to that.
Mm-hmm.
See, what it is people don't even realize that the greatest gift that children have is triangulation. Children don't even realize what they're doing. They just know that they get in their way.
Yeah, yeah.
So once that triangulation is there, right, triangulation is for a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Complete opposite. You understand?
Yeah.
That's why one of the things I did now, and one of the things I did, and my wife now, once it was locked with her, I made it a point, although I got a feisty wife and this, that, and the third, I had to put my foot down and say, oh, what we ain't gonna do is me and you will never, ever argue in front of my kids again.
Mm-hmm.
Raise my kids like that, and I don't want my kids to be put in a position where they have to choose a side because they are my kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's like yours, these are my kids, and they're going to automatically choose their daddy's side.
Yeah, yeah.
They're mine. So what we ain't gonna do is we're not gonna have this argument, fussing, and fighting. That's the problem, really. Is adults is doing in front of kids what mom never did in front of us.
Good deal. Good deal. Got it. Short on time, Curtis. Got to keep this thing rolling, brother. Let me go to Rico. What's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, man. Everybody has defined what a step parent is very thoroughly, and really and truly, the definition isn't long. We probably could have took 10 seconds apiece
Yeah.
and said what is a step parent. But then, like Willa said earlier, there's levels to this thing. We know what a step parent is, but now what type of step parent? Will he be, is he, or will he or she be allowed to be? See, now you start thinking about the character and the values of the person that you're marrying that's going to make you a step parent. Is she the type of person that's going to allow you to discipline your child? Or are you marrying a person that type of discipline is corporal punishment, but as a mother or father, inviting this step parent into your home to be a step parent to your child, do they believe in corporal punishment? Is that going to be a disagreement? See, these are things that you have to discuss and find out about a person before they even become a step parent. And see, the thing is, a lot of people get step parents, then they get another set of step parents after that. Because somebody got married for the wrong reasons. Once again, same reason you got the first divorce, and I'm here, now you got the second divorce. Now you got the third divorce. And now I got all these different step parents coming in, teaching me how they run their household.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got to learn all these different rules, and you get what I'm saying? But on top of that, I'm getting 3 or 4 different types of discipline. Maybe this stepfather, this stepmother likes to participate in my school activities. Mm-hmm. Maybe they like to sit down and have conversations with me and try to fill in the blanks that's missing from my parent. Maybe both of them. Maybe the custodial parent, or maybe the parent is out the picture now. Or does the father still get along with the child?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might be a step parent and you're dealing in a situation where the father is telling that child, don't do nothing he tell you to do. Every time he says something, do this and that, encouraging you to be disobedient. And then when things get messed up, when it's time to change hands in custody, somebody's shooting at the other.
Mm-hmm.
You don't tell my son what to do. You don't put your hand on my son. So these things are supposed to be discussed. And then on top of that, you know, man, this sort of deep subject, man. I ain't gonna get personal on this because I had a stepfather. Mm-hmm. You know, man, my dad was a stepfather to his stepchildren, my stepsisters, and we threw him a birthday party this past October. And he broke down and cried and admitted that he was more of a father to them than he was to me. Mm. And everybody that reaped the benefits of his fatherhood, I don't believe so. I think he did as much for them as he did for the rest of them. He knew he did. I knew he did. That was the elephant in the room. Mm-hmm. But it's still done. He did more for somebody else's child than he did for me. But the double whammy was my stepdaddy did the same thing. He did more for his own than he did for me. So I got left out on both ends by the daddy and the stepdaddy. So the thing is, you know, when you ask that question, what is a step parent? That step parent has something, it's supposed to be somebody that steps up and fills the void or supplements. I ain't gonna even say supplement. Actually, I'm gonna say supplement. They might supplement or just give extra cushion to parenting.
Good deal.
That a child should have.
Absolutely. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, when it comes to step parents, you know, they're supposed to step in and fill the void. Mm-hmm. You know, and sometimes they're stepping into a situation that is outside of their control. You know, my stepmom came into a situation where, you know, here's these 2 kids that don't trust women because of what their mother has done to them. And unfortunately, didn't really know what to do with us. Mm-hmm. So in some situations, I think there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's weighing things, it's balance, it's seeking help. There's so many levels to stepping in to take care of someone else's children that a person needs to take into account. How much effort are you truly willing to put in to make sure those kids are taken care of? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what environment were they in before I got there?
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Tiffany, what is a step parent?
Me, I don't like the word step, and I don't use that in my before I got with my ex-husband, I had 3 kids with my boyfriend, my first boyfriend. And we do everything as a family. My kids got 6 grandparents, you know, they have aunts, uncles. Nobody uses the word step. And when I got divorced, my baby was 1. And I moved to Atlanta, and I made no other guy was going to come. You have a father. But his babysitter's husband, who's still, well, he's deceased now, but an older couple, they cared for him. And he became his stepfather, if you want to call it that. Mm-hmm. But my ex-husband is married, and he has 3 new children. And they call me Mama Tiffany. You know, when the wife has the baby and stuff, this is your mom, this is your mother, Tiffany. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I always talk about, the village. Mm-hmm. When you use that word step, it makes me cringe because it's saying, oh, that's not my child. And I know parents, a lot of times parents don't mean it that way. But if somebody says, oh, that's your daughter or something like that, and they say, oh, no, that's my stepdaughter, it can make a child feel a certain way. So that's one word. That's one word, step, that we don't use in our family. When one father gets one, he gets them all. If he spanks one, he spanks them all. Nobody's exempt. We all on the same page. When we go to graduations and stuff like that, everybody's together, sitting together, and we're shouting for everybody. We are a family. When you lay down with somebody and you create somebody, you're bonded for life. When my son from my first kid's father died, it was my ex-husband that called and told. You know what I'm saying? Because he knew that my ex was grieving. You know what I'm saying? So my ex-husband called and told. We are a family. We move as a unit. We don't say this is my stepsister, this is my blood, this is my granddaughter, this is my grandchild. We love on each other as a family as a whole. And we have to think about how we word, because that word step, even though I'm not a stepchild, I'm a product of an affair. You know what I'm saying? So when people say side babies and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Those words have the ability to cause harm, mental harm, and make you feel less than. So even though I'm divorced and have these new babies, these 3 new kids that I didn't ask for, I'm happy to have them because I didn't push them out. I don't got to change no diapers. I don't have nothing. But I'm there to be that support system when they need me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Leonard, what is a step parent, and should they have the right to discipline to include the belt?
Well, step parent, everybody's given the definition of it. Step parent is when you marry somebody that already has kids. You're a step parent. So one, you all need to work that out. Hopefully y'all work it out before y'all got married. And put some conversation behind it on what if scenarios, what would you do, what is acceptable and what is not. Personally, I was never about that type of thing. I never would have dated women with children or anything like that because I'm not the person to be in that type of situation. I wouldn't deal with all the extra things you have to do and worry about. But I just applaud everybody that make it work for the better instead of having to deal with a whole bunch of drama and everything. It's good to see people work things out. So to each his own, and I wish people the best with that because that is a big deal now. That is more the norm.
Yes.
Especially when I know it's an issue when people are dating. My 2 of my best friends still have never been married and don't have any children. And they're 50, 51. So, it's making sure that you're making the choices for the right reason. Like say, for instance, I'm far more extreme than a lot of people. I never wanted to be in a situation like that. So I had to discipline myself. And I didn't date and I didn't get involved with women with children.
And I heard what you said, Leonard, but let me ask you this real quick question. I got a couple other people on the phone. I don't want to get to them as well. Is there a different level of responsibility that goes into when you are a step parent in comparison to your own biological children?
Oh yes, I think there's so many more considerations that you have to deal with, and you have to take. That's a unique situation for everybody. And everybody has a different way of dealing with it. We see where it don't work out well. And then we have examples where it works out very well.
Okay.
My brother is a person whom I've looked to for a lot of guidance on that because he has children with different mothers, but they make it all work and they're all family this way. And so there was never any issue. I was so, that was what was different for me when I say I came back to the world. So, to each his own. Like you say, I'm not into judging how people do. I just hope they do it well.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Mary, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I was cleaning up, lost track of time.
Yeah, that's okay. Did you get it clean?
Still cleaning, but took a break.
Mary, what is a step parent outside the obvious? What is a step parent, and should a step parent have the same right to discipline the child to include taking out the belt?
I don't know, maybe from different generation.
Mm-hmm.
I think a step parent, I think I'm gonna have to say this in logical terms, like it's not your real parent.
Mm-hmm.
But I think should they have the right to discipline? Yes. I think the boundaries should be set between the actual parent
Mm-hmm.
and whoever the step parent is about what boundaries they want to have, because that could go left, especially with the other parent that's not in a relationship. It could go left. So I feel like it should be a conversation. But as far as the belt situation, I don't think you should beat your kids. I think conversation goes a long way. But every child's different, every parent's different. So
see, you and Leonard absolutely agree on that about the discipline to include or not to include the belt. Y'all stand hand in hand on that one. Willa, what do you say to that? What is a step parent, and should that step parent have the right to discipline the child if it includes the belt, taking out the belt sometime? What do you say to that? Monique, coming to you next.
Raheem, first of all, yes, I do. I am a stepmother, and I do believe that there should be some discipline when a child is disrespectful. Because if you allow, if take for example, because I married 4 other kids, and if my husband tell me that I can't discipline my children, who I now call my children, I have children, then I find a problem with that. Because the kids did manipulate the system. They say, well, my dad ain't gonna let you touch me, and they'll constantly be disrespectful. So yeah, at some degree, and each household is different. And I definitely, I don't know who that gentleman was, but I have a lot of respect for him. He said he made the decision he wasn't gonna marry a woman that has children, and I honor that because there's a lot of mess that comes with stepchildren. You got the mama that are mad because you're with the spouse. You got the father that got the testosterone going on, who that Negro is, so you got all this mess going on. So yeah, you got the right to choose whether you want to get involved with all that. And the main thing is, Raheem, is communication.
Yeah.
If you got communication between you and that wife, or you and that husband, then the kids and nobody else can get through that. That's got to be the main thing, communication. And just like that man said before, you got to discuss this before you get in it. Because them kids are already there, and you know what comes with it. So that discussion should be already done before you say, I do.
That's good. That's good. Monique, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Monique, I have to hear your heart on this. What do you say to this?
Well, I was raised in with a stepfather, and what I think my situation, my mom was a disciplinary. So when he came into the situation, it was already law and order already in the house. All he did was just step in. So we was raised to respect our elders regardless of who they are. It was kind of like you don't have no say-so in this. And my mom picked right. My stepfather was a good man. I mean, it was to the point where people didn't even know that we were his stepchildren. Even some people in the family didn't know that he wasn't our father. Even his co-workers didn't even know. When he passed away and they were looking, and it didn't say it in the obituary, but when the conversation was had, it was like, what? They wouldn't have never got it. So I think, but as far as disciplinary, he never had to do it because we always respected him. There was never no disrespect there. So, he didn't have to worry about that. He didn't come into a situation where it was chaotic. And as far as myself, being a single parent, I chose not to, put my, be in a situation like that, because when I realized that there were a lot of men that, you know, never been in a household where there was a father in there. And I just didn't hear a lot of them understanding, you know, what a father is. Because, you know, for me, you know, the way my disciplinary worked, it wasn't necessarily how my mom, you know, disciplinary worked. And so I didn't agree with the pulling out the belt, because I never had to pull out a belt with my daughter, because we started the discipline, you know, young with her, to the point where she got to a certain age, you know, all you got to do is just talk. So where I realized with some other people, they still believe in, you know, getting a belt and getting a shoe or stick or whatever. And I didn't see that. So I wasn't comfortable with, you know, bringing in a man in my life, you know, that would step in. So, so as far as disciplinary, I believe that, you know, the step parent can, but I think it needs to be discussed, and we need to be on the same page.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tucson, what do you say to that, man? What is a step parent, and should that step parent have the same right to discipline that child, even if it includes taking out that belt every now and then?
A step parent is a trick of the devil. That phrase. I'm saying. That's just me saying. Here's the thing. If you are with the person,
the response by Donald Tucson is not the response of DK Media Group and Associates or its affiliates. Go ahead, brother.
You better not. You better not.
Glad it's not me.
You better not. Because here's the thing. You with the person. Y'all together. And supposedly, y'all supposed to be maybe perhaps thinking about sharing a life together.
Yes.
And so if that's so, who's omitted out of the life? How can you have a child sitting up there and you call him there on the sides? A side child. You know how we have these side pieces?
Yeah.
Now you got a side child. That's crazy.
Wow.
Oh, crazy. Oh, get out. I almost went back to Sandra.
Yeah.
You don't have, we got to get that mindset out of our head, because you can't. I know we don't have to. We don't have to. It would be beneficial to us and the child to stop calling them things that they're not. You have your children. Do you know that I got my son's sister is my child. Period. I don't even know who her daddy is.
Wow. Good deal. There you go.
I'm responsible.
Yeah.
She's grown. She got her own stuff. But if she calls me right now and needs something, I'm gonna go see about it.
Yep. Exactly. 9:58, Rico. What's on your heart? Give me a quick version and tell us what's going on at 3:00 today.
Man, you know, in some situations, a step parent has to learn a heck of a job, man. And if you're a good step parent, I'm gonna say you're a hell of a man. Because what happens is you get in different scenarios where you might come into a situation where this child might not even know who their dad is. That woman might have become pregnant from a rape, from incest, or just from being a whore. Who knows? That baby don't know who his dad is. But it needs that father figure. Or maybe, you know, it needs that father figure. So now here it is. You got to find a way to embrace and bond with this child. See, I'm going to let the cat out the bag. It's very hard to identify with a child when you don't see your own child come into this world. When you look at your own baby that you created, looking like you and his mama, introducing this new baby into this world, my baby. And you start seeing them growing up and this and that, then all of a sudden that don't work out, you get with somebody else. First off, it's hard to even identify with letting somebody else be over your children that you brought into this world. But now here it is, you got to try to teach somebody else or love somebody else's child the same way you love yours. And we'll easily say, yeah, I do. I love that child just like it's mine. But to be honest, that has to be a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
Because deep down inside, the average human being is not going to love everybody else's child as much as they're going to love their own. They're not going to bond with everybody else's child or care about everybody else's child as much as they love their own. So they have to learn to do that. They have to want to do that. So that's a whole lot of work has to be put in before somebody actually has a real quality step parent. But that being said, if you would like to listen to or see today's broadcast in its entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dklmediagroup.com.
Good deal, good deal. Who we got on here? Toy, you want to tell your prayers out, sis?
Absolutely no problem.
All right.
We want to thank you, Father, for another glorious day, for another glorious conversation, Lord. And we thank you for this opportunity to be able to share each other's differences, Father, because we understand that we are your body. And the only way that we can come together and work as one is understanding one. And we thank you for giving us that with this show. We thank Raheem, we ask you to keep us blessed and be able to keep the airwaves open for us. And we ask you to continue to keep everybody, not only on this channel, on the station, but everybody in the world, Lord, touch them in ways that only you can. To bring us together to make sure that we do what is your will, so we can live this life beautifully and peacefully. We come to you in honor, mercy, and praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. It's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now, 10:01, so you're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug. Because you never know, it could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Now we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other, and please be blessed.